Hello, sir. We can start, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Hello, good morning, everyone. On this International Women's Day, which is being celebrated since 1900, I congratulate all the women on this planet, and especially the woman who is seen on the screen and others who are not seen. Congratulations to each and every one. PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Innovation Technology Transfer Office, ITTO Foundation for Innovation and Technology Transfer, Indian Institute of Technology. We are organizing this today's program, which is it's a very International Women Day special and basically Women Day, especially focusing on innovation and entrepreneurship management and how women has done in past so many years, how they have been empowered. And to actually take this program, we have a galaxy of top women achievers from each field. And to begin the program, I would first request Mr. Anil Bali, MD, CEO, FITT, Foundation for Innovation and Technology Transfer, Indian Institute of Technology, to give his introductory remarks for today's program. Mr. Bali, are you there?
Yes.
Yes. Good morning.
Thank you, very good one. Thanks, Dr. Mehta, and a very good morning to one and all. And first of all, wish everyone a very happy Women's Day. I would rather take the liberty of saying compliments to the very important or more important half of the humanity. So let me confine myself to the context that we are here. So, besides other things, an entrepreneur, be it a woman or a man, needs to be well versed in the process of innovation management. And there are so many other things that one has to worry about, an entrepreneur has to worry about. But this is an extremely important facet of management, which actually has to be taken very seriously. And interestingly, today's workshop touches upon very critical areas like intellectual property management. I mean, it could be protection, technology transfer, or even funding for that matter. Interestingly, and I think there are some members who may be fully aware that intellectual property is considered an important avenue to increase the valuation of a company. There are a lot of value associated with intellectual property, but in very simplistic terms, it actually helps increase the valuation of the company, particularly the tech companies. Not that the business companies are also not affected by this, but yes, there could be very strong trademarks, etc., which could be part of their property profile. But this valuation, which is enabled through intellectual property, actually helps such companies improve their prospects for funding or investments. Now, FITT, along with its stakeholders, is strengthening the regional economy through its interventions in the innovation ecosystem. And I think we've been doing it for more than 25 years now. But what may interest everyone out here is that our outreach setup, or newly set up outreach body, that is Innovation Technology Transfer Office, in short called ITTO, is at the moment a women-oriented team. I mean, most of the professionals therein are all women, and it is just in its beginning years. So they relate with the women very well. But there's an to have they started taking the baby steps, or all steps that are needed to show their presence, is also make an impact in the ecosystem that it is professed to serve. That is ITTO is in for an interesting contest, which is opening up for entrepreneurs on what is called as Share Your Story. And we have a special category for women entrepreneurs, and the stories of top 3 women entrepreneurs will be published on our social media handles, as also with our partner publications like Women Lines magazine. And then, of course, you can expect some surprise awards too. So therefore, friends, I think the best way to keep in touch these days is to follow us or follow others on the various social media handles, particularly LinkedIn, where I think we put all our stakes on. So with this, I again welcome you all to this very interesting panel and session onwards. I think I see good friends. Tripti is there. Good morning, Tripti. And then, of course, we have worked with PhD CCI before, and we look forward to interesting times ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wali, for your absolutely inspiring remarks, and what actually this foundation which you're heading right now, Foundation for Innovation and Technology Transfer, Indian Institute of Technology, is doing for the upliftment of women, how you're inspiring them. And thank you indeed. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Mr. Mohit Jain, Chair of MSME Committee of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, also Director of Malt Company, for his address for today's webinar. Over to you, Mr. Jain.
Very good morning. Namaskar. Thank you, Ranjit ji. And I also would like to start with wishing everyone here a very happy Women's Day. And I take pleasure in welcoming, and my privilege to welcome Dr. Anil Wali, MD and CEO, Foundation for Innovation and Technology Transfer, Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi. Ms. Tripti Somani, my colleague and co-chair, MSME Committee, PhD, CCI. Dr. Vijay Kumar, Vice Chancellor, Mother Teresa Women's University, Kodaikanal. Dr. Ranjit Mehta, Deputy Secretary General, PhD, CCI. Officials from IIT Delhi, colleagues from universities, research institutions, industry friends, and people from media, ladies and gentlemen. We are pleased to welcome you all to the International Women's Day special full-day virtual workshop on innovation management for women entrepreneurs. Jointly organized by PhD Intellectual Property Facilitation Center, New Delhi, and Innovation and Technology Transfer Office, Foundation for Innovation, Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi.
हाँ
I'm also very thankful to Dr. Vijay Kumar, Vice Chancellor, Mother Teresa University, Kodaikanal, for accepting our request. As you all know, that the increasing presence of women as entrepreneurs has led to the change in the demographics, characteristics of business, and economic growth of our country. Women-owned business enterprises are playing a prominent role in society, inspiring others and generating more employment opportunities in the country. Friends, I'm happy to briefly introduce PhD Chamber to you. This chamber is a leading industry chamber of India, presently 116 years old. It has been an active participant in India's growth story by virtue of its advocacy role for the policy makers and regulators of the country. Regular interactions, seminars, conferences, and conclaves allow healthy and constructive discussions between government, industry, and international agencies, bringing out the vitals for growth. As a true facilitating representative, PhD Chamber has forged ahead, leveraging its legacy with the industry. At present, 58 industry verticals are being covered through the Chamber's various committees. At a global level, we have been working with the embassies and high commissions in India to bring in the international best practices and create business opportunities. Friends, as you all know, that the Indian economy is continuing to grow every decade, and startups are turning out to be driving this growth. This is the third largest startup nation, having over 27,000 startups. India still has only 5% women startup founders. This figure highlights the multi-layered challenges faced by female entrepreneurs. The risk return of becoming an entrepreneur is influenced by various factors, including gender, age, and socioeconomic status. The parameters for assessing risk and reward are marked differently for male and female entrepreneurs. This ratio can be extremely skewed for women entrepreneurs, as they often face the added risk of social stigma and familial exclusion by pursuing their business ideas. This often makes being an entrepreneur for women much less rewarding. However, the perception of rewards for women has changed in recent years due to the pointed measures taken by the different stakeholders. Investors have been motivated to set up female-oriented funds to encourage entrepreneurship and the availability of capital for women entrepreneurs. Access to capital for early-stage startups is strongly influenced by the startup's founding team, influencing evaluations of women-only team. With the launch of female-focused funds, as well as the growing presence of women in VCs and PE firms, these traditional barriers have been removed. The incubators today are also looking to encourage startups by women by conducting workshops and employing female mentors. These mentors go beyond providing traditional mentorship and help these entrepreneurs overcome barriers, particularly those associated with the gender roles. Even though the above stakeholders have made a positive impact on women entrepreneurship, the role of government in this domain is often not highlighted enough. In its capacity, the Indian government is focused on encouraging more and more women to be financially independent and open their own entrepreneurship by bringing out numerous new schemes. In this context, it is need for sustainable growth of women entrepreneurs to promote balanced growth in the country, and Startup India is committed to strengthening the women entrepreneurship ecosystem through policies and initiatives and creation of enabling networks. Friends, once the fundamentals of deciding the right business structures are cleared, IPR helps to differentiate your business from the competitors. IPR yields you the following advantages. Can sell or license for creating an additional revenue stream. Offering distinctive products, services to your customers. It can become an essential part of your marketing or branding. Exclusivity, it gives you exclusivity. Intellectual properties are assets that you can use as security. India has a very vibrant innovation culture. However, there's an urgent need to take the knowledge of innovation and, most importantly, protection of the innovation to the grassroots levels. Once again, I would like to welcome all the eminent experts and our participants to this workshop and hope the deliberation today will be informative to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jan, for giving the perspective on how women are performing and what is the government that is doing for the upliftment of women, their various schemes. Thank you very much for your address. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to invite the keynote address of today by Ms. Tripti Somani, who is the co-chair of MSME Committee of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, also CEO of KGS Advisors LLP, and she's a TEDx speaker. Over to you, Ms. Tripti Somani, for we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ranjit and Mohit ji, for curating this wonderful program. And we are really proud that as PhD, we are very dedicated towards the cause of creating entrepreneur, contributing to the real women GDP. And I also welcome Dr. Vijay Kumara, Vice Chancellor. So it's great to have more women power on board. So I'll just take a second and share my PPT with you all. I've been given 20 minutes to speak, and I thought I'll make it more effective by a presentation. So this is Tripti Somani, and some people call me Mrs. Rocket Singh, because my life mantra is whatever you think, do it. Planning is important, but don't leave it in between. So welcome everyone, and a happy Women's Day to everyone out there. Who am I and how is very important in everyone's life. And I really feel this is a very important aspect. So I'm a possibility thinker. I'm a curator. I'm a collaborator. I work in collaboration with a lot of initiatives and a lot of programs we do together with other industry leaders. Of course, a chartered accountant and a social activist to help other women grow. So I'll start with one very important fact is, out of box thinking. Somewhere I think we all are stopping ourselves. And today's topic is IPR. We'll be discussing a very, very relevant point. We all may be innovating a lot of things every day. Our mothers are making different kind of recipes. Is that not innovation? Somebody is restricting ourselves to say that's an innovation. I'm sorry. I think that is what I'm talking about is out of box thinking. We all have opportunities in front of us, and we all can do different ways. We can create different things, and there's a lot of opportunity for us. So I really feel we all have to be turned to a mode of solution and a curator, then thinking about our weaknesses, because all of us are born with one such thing which can really make us different from others. And that is something we all have to focus on. We have a big challenge of all of our ecosystem as a woman when they meet us, think we are superheroes. We are expected, or we are doing already, challenging ourselves, doing a lot of things at one time. I really look forward for all of you not to be that superhero. It's okay to say that I am not and I can't. So please, somewhere this is very important, where we restrict ourselves on what all we can do. And we all believe in, outsourcing few things, which are things we can always depend on someone with us. So it's very important. As a woman, we have noticed that we try to do everything ourselves. And that's where the challenge is. We do multitasking, and that's very good very, very important. It's important to be a multitasker with the kind of responsibility we are with or having. So it's important, but again, it's we may do a MBA or not, but I think we should be a good manager. We should think what our whole day looks like and how we can ensure that that can be outsourced or automized. So technology can help us in automizing a lot of our everyday monotonous work, and it can give us a lot of strength. So today, since we are talking about technology, we'll be talking about IPR. It's important for us to understand the relevance that whatever we are doing, if that can be automized, we should not leave that opportunity. We should also not leave an opportunity for outsourcing and depending on others when things are something which, if you have 24 hours and I feel those 24 hours are not sufficient for us, there's definitely, you need rest, you need to be mentally fit. Today, the concept of holistic wellness is there. Anyone who meets you want to see you smiling, whatever it may be. So it's important to be an outsourcer, important to be an automizer, because that will help us as women to be better performer, concentrate on important things. Okay, a very important aspect in our life is getting advisors. We may start a startup, we may be working with someone else or working as an employee. We sometimes take advice on our professional matters. But I am telling you, please take a note that it's also important to have an advisor, not only for your business, but also for your own work, for your own personal life. Sometimes it's important to guide you on different aspects which are difficult to take decision on, whether a married life, whether unmarried. It is very important to have a personal guider. And I believe in it because I've been guided by different mentors at different point of time, not only for my business as my advisory board, but also in my personal life when, things become difficult, you're taking things, we are very emotional people. So this is one piece of advice I would like all of you to know that is important, not on only personal front, professional front, but personal front also. You have to have someone to guide you at different circumstances. Work-life balance. People keep asking, there are a lot of interviews happening around this topic, but there is a myth. I mean, it's a myth. If you like something, you enjoy that, I think you are managing well. You're happy. That's what matters. Love versus like, that's what I always keep talking about. It's a myth. It's a myth. I can tell you, it's really a myth saying a work-life balance. Sometimes I work morning to night without taking a break and I don't get tired because I'm doing what I like. I love what I do. So maybe it's just, if you're feeling tired, something you're not liking or you're not loving. So maybe you need to look forward for something which you love and you can create something which you can, scale it up, is something which you can definitely put on your papers. That is something you love and something which can be scalable is something we can eye on if you want to think of business. Challenges, definitely every one of us have challenges in life. And that's not a big thing because it's not about the challenges what matters. It's about how did you deal with those challenges. And I'll just quickly share, a very important point of my life. If you've heard my TEDx, you may see it as a repetition, but I would like to share. All of us, whether male or female, we have a turning point. I was born in Bareilly, someone who loves, cleaning the house, working with the, caretakers in the house, helping them is something I thought, and I was very passionate about dancing, but I landed up being a chartered accountant. There's a story to it. I'll make it very short. The short story is that I was not very good in my studies and I was caught cheating in class 8. And I was a person who was very quiet, was hardly actually an introvert. And I was slapped softly by my teacher here. I think that changed everything that day. I was embarrassed for sure. I did something wrong and I was embarrassed, but that was the turning point. From someone who used to not just used to pass in exams, was a topper of the school. I went to SRCC, Shriram College of Commerce, completed my Institute of Chartered Accounts CA degree, did my articleship with the most challenging environment, PwC, Grant Thornton, Sani Natarajan Bell. I think that's what I was talking about. You or your daughter or your mother may not be born with that, but you either can contribute in creating someone which can help because she is innovating, or you yourself can be someone, and there will be a turning point. So at any point of time, you feel discouraged, just look at someone who's less fortunate than you are. And this is exactly why I feel I have always been a fakir who loves collecting and listening, and someone who likes getting, I keep my hands like this in terms of taking one good quality from everyone. So whenever I used to meet anyone since my childhood, I used to note down what is good about that person. I used to, for example, we have Mr. Mohit here. I will take him as a person who's a community person who takes everyone together. I have, Mr. Dr. Wali is there, so I'll note down that he's a technology expert and a great human. So these are the things which you have, which really matters if you want to become a social activist or a community leader. So it's very important to be that fakir jo ghar pe aata hai aur katora leke he takes anything you give. So be that fakir is being something which very close to my heart. And as a woman, I will advise, or you may, is we have a very guilt factor when we leave from house, leaving our kids behind and go for work. There's a movie, if you all must have watched, is Vampire's Diary, and I take it from there, a word called humanity switch. When you're outside, when you leave your house and leaving back your family, your kids, if I understand a lot of students are there, you will get married soon. You may feel that challenge. Just understand that when you're outside, you cannot be at two places at one time. Just switch off that humanity switch for a few minutes. Don't feel guilty. Try to give your 100% when you're out. And I'm sure when you come back, the 100% time is of your family. So that works better than you be at different places and be not there anyhow. So again, a very important quality which I've adapted is a possibility thinker. Report says that almost every day we get 12,000 to 50,000 thoughts are around us. It's important that we capture those thoughts because those are some things which we love and we are thinking. Just keep a diary with you and start noting. Start noting what all comes to your mind. You don't know what can lead to an innovation, what can change your life in terms of idea which you think could be in future can be grown. So, and I would just quickly end with saying that, about a little about what I've been doing. So I'm a chartered accountant, as you all know by now, but I used to feel that I'm fortunate to be a survivor as a woman. And that's not the case with everyone. We have women who get divorced. We have women who, fighting different kind of, challenges in their life, personal lives, professional lives, not promoted because of some reason. I wanted to, create. And it's not, that we have COVID. We have used the word virtual. We created virtual incubator for women. Now I'm talking about an opportunity converted to a business idea, converted to a complete platform. So that's what you have to start with. Then you see an opportunity, you convert that into an idea, you convert that idea to a big platform or scalable initiative. It could be a business, it could be a social activity, but it has to reach somewhere. It has to bring that change. So we created first virtual incubator for women. We don't have virtual word, like I said, because of COVID. This was launched in 2018-19. So this is what we believed, that every woman needs help, or some women do need help, and they can't come to you. They can't come to a physical location. They need support virtually. So that's where we started working with, our concept called virtual incubator for women. And we created, from just doing events, we started collaborating and started doing incubation, where we incubate, help you. We do competition like Louis Pitch competition. We go to 100 cities and 90 sectors, and we try to hear. So the new change which has happened in the social activist or as a leader is that you should be a listener. Then a speaker or someone who's just speaking. So it's very important if you're adapting to become a leader, you fall in the category of listening. So we created this platform of WE page where we started listening to a woman in 1 minute about the challenges, about the business, about the activities they do, what they contribute as an employee in a company, and then connect them to an incubation program on how they can further scale them up. So as a policy person, we look forward that our woman becomes a policy change maker, and it gets reflected in the the announcements. We want our women to be directors if they have that potential to further work on their skill set so that they can be appointed on different boards. We want to recognize and appreciate the work. So this is what is important. I would have never done it all alone. I started cloning myself by inviting and creating women like us as our influencers in different part of the city so that we don't leave anyone behind. Trusting in cloning, is something which, is something to manage better. And WE page, like I said, is more about listening, not talking. That's the new India. We need to, as being fortunate, we should be listening than talking. And we definitely are supporting Women for Women. We're creating a complete value chain from helping them, supporting different ways. We have almost 10 initiatives, understanding from creating a fund for small businesses, for women, to creating an incubation program. We have a brand ambassador program. We promote women by management planner, coffee tables. We do competition across. We help them in vendor meet and embassy meets. So that's very, very important. So I will just try to say that as a woman, we used to give birth to 10 kids at a time in our old age. We have that power, and we need to ensure that we are contributing in the same way. If we have only 1 or 2 kids, we can at least be the change maker for at least 10 lives. So don't be a Wi-Fi, be a hotspot that can be used anywhere. And I would just simply say that our culture definitely needs improvement, but we are the one who are thinking, and we have to make sure that it is getting implemented. And one thing I will end by saying that I was always wrong on how many people you should know. What is important is the right person, and you work with that right person, and you execute what you thought, and continuity is the key to success. And with this, I would like to bring my presentation to an end. Thank you so much. And thanks a lot for being so patient. As I said, it's time that leader listen, and you all love to see a possibility where we hear the students with what business ideas they have, what else that they would like to create. So good luck once again, and everyone out there. Wishing you a very, very happy Women's Day. We will be celebrating it every day, not just one day, for sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Tripti Somani. That definitely we should celebrate it every day, not just for one day. And how you have, actually given the importance of the perspective, how you change the perspective. Because it's not that winners do different things, as Shiv Khera has said. They do the things differently. And in life, you have to take detours and accepting mistakes. How you had narrated your story, that a particular mistake you accepted, and how it changed and inspired you to do better in life. Thank you very much for sharing your experiences with the young people and with all of us who are here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite the chief guest of the day, Dr. Vaidehi Vijayakumar, Vice Chancellor, Mother Teresa Women's University, Kodaikanal, Tamil Nadu, who is going to share her experience and her success story with all of us. Over to you, ma'am, for your address.
Respected Dr. Anil Wali, MD and CEO, FITT. Respected Mr. Mohit Jain, Chair, MSME Committee, PhD CCI. Respected Madam Tripti Somani, Co-Chair, MSME Committee, PhD CCI. Respected Dr. Ranjit Mehta, Deputy Secretary General, PhD CCI, and other participants, very warm welcome and new wishes for Women's Day from Mother Teresa Women's University, Kodaikanal, Tamil Nadu. I'm very, very happy to be in this virtual workshop on innovation management for women entrepreneurs organized on International Women's Day. Women, 50% of the total community, they wanted to be entrepreneur and they wanted to be having equal status through education is basically the objective of Mother Teresa Women's University established by State Government of Tamil Nadu. When you wanted to be an entrepreneur, women, obviously, there are few things basically needed. A person with exceptional innovation ability with their family, it is possible for them to become entrepreneur. For example, a Shakti Masala company run by a female and managed by all female members. Others, definitely, they have to have the fundamental education and they should be in a position to understand what is exactly needed by any customer and where are the potential for them to innovate. So obviously, innovation is going to be a basic step for new product. So when a person is going for higher studies, PG studies, and when they do PhD, whatever innovation they are making, it is possible for them to file patent and make them as a product. Plus, once the product is available, obviously, it is possible for them to become an entrepreneur. So our university has got such facility for innovation and entrepreneur development activities. So a women, when they have multitasking requirement, taking care of the family, taking care of their own business, obviously women has got multiple thread to manage things with her ability. So when they are becoming an entrepreneur, obviously it is possible for them to be a leader in managing things. So in the latest technologies, that means cloud, wherever we have data, it is possible to access. And the data-driven society, which is basically data science, and with 5G internet ability, from home, it is possible for any person to access data. And now we can see the teachers, mainly female, they are in a position to have the classes to be held virtually by having the technology in hand. The virtual classes, the virtual lectures, then the video lectures, the classroom preparation, anything. If you are a teacher, then obviously you are going to become a book entrepreneur. If you are a good professor, then video lectures can be given, and there is a huge potential for the best video lectures on specific topic, because women are in school level, in college level, they are gold medalists. They know where to tap the best ideas and how to prepare things and how to present things. Then the book writing, then the editions, whatever they wanted to do in MOOC courses or Coursera, government has got lots of requirement in making Indian female members to become book authors. Now, when you are going to do innovation, obviously, the tools, artificial intelligence, then machine learning, these are obviously included in the IoT collected data, where it is going to enable Internet of Everything. So obviously, the innovation ideas are becoming app. And one example is basically Ola, Uber, where the complete software is managing the complete transport and strategic plans. If that is the case, sky is the limit for ideas. When you have good ideas, it is possible for anyone to have these ideas patented and they can become an entrepreneur. Mother Teresa Women's University Biotechnology Department has got GI for Malaipundu, that means mountain garlic, and it is possible for our university to collect all the farmers and give them helping hand in marketing garlic. If that is possible for garlic, that is possible for whatever the product that is available in hilly areas. With innovative product, with marketing strategy, any MBA person can become an entrepreneur, especially a place like Kodaikanal, where the tourist trends can be analyzed with several statistical tools and recommendation systems can be created, and obviously these systems will make a person to become an entrepreneur, because these tools can be used by hotel for planning for the market driven tourist. So the question here is, technology is amenable and it is giving helping hand for female members, so that it is possible for them to cross the geographical boundary and develop things with their firm, intelligent ideas. Then when we talk about the doctors, nurses, the entrepreneurs are basically how to collect the available potential of local people who are in a position to go and take care of elderly people. That app is also available. And when you are a nurse, obviously a personalized healthcare IoT devices are providing the vital parameters in the console wherever an entrepreneur is sitting, and from there it is possible for the doctors to check the status of the patient. So obviously, when we have IoT, IoE, cloud, it is possible for any person to become entrepreneur by having lots of ideas to give helping hand for either doctor or farmers or nurses or agents or hotels. So sky is the limit, and I wish the women will be in a position to look into these aspects and understand the potential, innovate new product, and become women entrepreneur and give several job opportunities for the needy people, so that the women will become self-reliant, and that is going to be one important thing for India to become a developed country. Thanks for the opportunity, and I wish all the best for this organization to make women as an entrepreneur. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor, for your inspiring words. And you have also explained how the technology can play a very important role for the women to become entrepreneur. And anyone who is an agent of change is an entrepreneur. Actually, all these entrepreneurs, they bring the change in the society. They can bring the change anywhere they are, whether they are professors, teaching, or doing anything. Thank you very much for your very, very inspiring words of wisdom. So now, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, thank you, ma'am. So this house is open for some questions. You may raise your hand. We can actually unmute you and you can ask your questions. So anyone there from students? I can see that a lot of young students, they have joined this. I can see they have joined from International School of Informatics and also from Mother Teresa Women's University of Kodaikanal, and other people who have joined. They can simply raise your hand and we can unmute you and you can ask a question. Okay, I see no questions over there, but the webinar is going to go for a day. It's a day-long webinar. Now, on behalf of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, I thank Dr. Vaidehi Vijaya Kumar, Vice Chancellor, Mother Teresa Women's University, Kodaikanal, for sparing her time and addressing all the participants. I also thank Mr. Mohit Jain, Chairman of MSME Committee of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Ms. Tripti Somani, Co-Chair MSME Committee, and also Dr. Anil Wali, MD and CEO, FITT, Foundation of Innovation and Technology Transfer, Indian Institute of Technology, and Mithilesh Kumar, who is our Joint Secretary, who has been instrumental in organizing this program of today, and all the very distinguished people who have joined this inaugural session. And I thank each and every one. I also thank International School of Informatics, Cell Division, and Mother Teresa Women's University, Kodaikanal, for supporting this program. And thank you very much. We are now taking this program to the next session. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mehta. Now, the next session on intellectual property right concept, identification, creation. The session covers the basics overview of all the IP rights and its importance. The speaker of this session is Ms. Reema Sahani. She is a project manager, Innovation Technology Transfer Office, Foundation for Innovation Technology, IIT Delhi. The brief profile of Reema. She is working as a project manager, IP Tech Transfer Information Technology. She is Master of Life Science Diploma in IPR from National Law University, Bangalore. She is awardee of Women Scientist C Scholarship under Kiran Department of Technology. She is a registered patent agent with Indian Patent Office and experience of more than 10. She is actively involved in formulating IP transfer technology to the client invention, advising many MSME startups on individual on securing protection enforcement rights with them in commercialization of technology. She is working towards RTTP design, registration, technology transfer professional. Over to Ms. Reema Sahani. Now the sessions, you can start your session.
Thank you so much, Mithilesh. Can you please confirm if my slides are visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Thank you so much. First of all, a big shout out and wishing every woman a very happy Women's Day. Being from a team of women at Innovation Technology Transfer Office, we believe in the concept of sisterhood. As a woman, I will suggest other women to help others to uplift as well. This way, we will be able to create our own niche and will change the social mindset about the women leaders as well. I'm happy to share that Innovation Technology Transfer Office have two announcements to make for entrepreneurs. First, you will be happy to know we plan to support 10 entrepreneurs this financial year with their patent filing needs. And second, if you want to share your success story, we have an ongoing contest for startups by the name of Share Your Story. Winners will be awarded with some exciting prizes. So please apply for these schemes and avail the opportunity. Going forward, the topic of my presentation is intellectual property, concept, identification, and creation. Now, what is intellectual property rights? It is said generate ideas on them is called the IPR. There are different types of intellectual property. It can be patent, trademark, copyright, industrial design, trade secret, and geographical indication. What is the nature of intellectual property? Intellectual property is creation of our mind. It is our intellect. Like other properties, it is not tangible, it is intangible in nature. IPR these are the exclusive rights which are given to the creator of this work by the government. IP rights are territorial in nature. For example, if you have filed any patent or trademark application in India itself, then you can join the rights only in India. IP rights are called negative rights because you are stopping others from copying your work. So because these rights are given by government, so these rights are legally enforceable as well. Now, what are the benefits of filing IP? It protects the innovation. It helps in building brand value for any startup or academic institution. Nowadays, one of the parameters for ranking any academic institution or in case of startup as well, one of the parameters for valuation of any startup, IP plays a significant role. It opens a new source of revenue for any startup or academic institute because by transferring your IP, you can earn revenue from that. It promotes the innovation, collaboration, and entrepreneur ecosystem. It gives us better collaboration and funding opportunity. If your invention has worth, you can file IP for that, and further you can apply for different funding schemes which are available government and non-government platform. From it, you can create solution for the good of society. And during this pandemic era of COVID-19, we all have witnessed so many products are coming from startups and academic institutions like PPE kit, mask, and portable ventilator, and likewise other as well. So what are the drawbacks of not protecting your IP? If you are not filing IP rights and protecting your invention with IP, then anyone can copy your idea and they can start commercializing the product. And in that case, you are not able to take legal action because you have not protected your invention, and indirectly you are creating competition for yourself. So it is always recommended, as and when your idea is ready, your invention is ready, before publishing about your invention, then go for filing IP. And if you have filed patent application for your technology, then scout for other IPs as well. So as discussed in my earlier slides, there are different types of IP which can protect your technology. It can be patent, trademark, copyright, industrial design, trade secret, and geographical indications. Let's discuss with patents first. Patent rights are exclusive rights in nature, which are given by government to the patentee. Patent can be granted for product as well as for the process. The time limit for patent is 20 years from first filing. Patent rights are territorial in nature. If you have filed patent application in India, then you can enjoy the rights of patentee in India itself. And of course, if you want to enjoy those rights in US, then you have to file application in US as well. Patent rights are negative rights in nature because you are stopping others from copying your idea. And patent rights can be sold, licensed, mortgaged, inherited, and transferred as well. In technology transfer, you can transfer IP rights, which includes patent as well. So these are the rights which are given to the patentee by the government. Right to manufacture and use the patented process and or product, right to sell the patented invention, and you can any patentee can prevent others from importing the patenting invention as well. Why it is everyone is so excited to file patent application for their invention? There are so many reasons. First, it is like incentive to the inventors. The hard work and intellect and the money they have spent on any invention, if the patent is granted, it is like incentive to their hard work. And it encourages research and development, and it helps in building innovative ecosystem as well. It brings new technology to the market because by transferring your technology or further developing that technology, you are adding, your society will be benefited by your invention as well. It promotes technology transfer as well, and indirectly, it is the new source of revenue for any startup. It promotes commercial exploitation of technology at its fullest. These are the patentability criteria on the basis of which any technology is evaluated. Now the question arises, when should we go for patentability criteria? I would say at the initiation of any project, you can perform patentability assessment. And for this, you can contact any IP or TT professional because they will recommend you if your invention is novel or not, and it has patentability criteria or not. And in fact, they will also recommend you if anyone other is working on the same domain and what are the gap areas on which you can do work upon them. So the first patentability criteria is novelty. It is said that only the one paper worldwide can kill the novelty of your invention. Your invention should be novel. It should not be in the public domain. Second criteria is non-obvious and inventive step. Your invention should have technical edge advancement from the already existing technologies in the public domain. It should have uniqueness and inventive step. Third is industrial application. If you have invented some technology and it is novel and has inventive step, but it has no industrial application, then there is no worth of filing patent application because that invention, that patent application will be objected by Indian Patent Office. Fourth one is very important, which is patentable subject matter. As per Indian Patent Act 1970, there are two sections, Section 3 and Section 4, which deals with patentable subject, non-patentable subject matter. So your invention should not be in the Section 3 and Section 4 of Indian Patent Act. Types of patent application filing. You can file ordinary patent application, means in which there is no claim of any priority. And this is the simple patent application, as in when you will file the patent application, you will have the priority from that date. Now, if you, because in my earlier slides, I mentioned that patent rights are territorial in nature. But if you have filed patent application in India and you think your application has market potential in other countries like in US or in Japan, then you can file application there as well. And of course, if you want to launch your business there, then it is always recommended first protect your IP there. So there are two ways by which you can, two routes I would say, by which you can file patent application in other countries. One is the Paris Convention and second one is the PCT application. If you are interested to file more than 2 or 3 countries in abroad, then it is recommended to file through PCT route, because it has a benefit of time as well, because the deadline for filing PCT application is 12 months from the first filing, which will be if you have filed ordinary patent application, then after filing that application, there is deadline of 12 months in which you can go through PCT route. And of course, further for the national filing, there is time limit of 30 and 31 months, depending upon the country. And this way, within that time period, you can decide if your invention has market potential in those countries or not. And likewise, you can proceed further. So this is very interesting example, billionaire by filing patent. So this is Gatorade drink. So in a University of Florida, a student were studying, the research scholar basically, they were wondering why the school's football players were being affected by the heat. So they invented a drink for the athletes, and that would become Gatorade. They sold to a beverage company named Stockley Van Camp in 1967. And the company agreed to pay them $25,000. In addition, they agreed to pay them royalty as well. So as per ESPN report in October 2015, the amount of royalty it surpassed $1 billion. So from this example, you will come to know how it is beneficial for you to file patent application for your invention, because you never know in future from its application you can earn so much revenue by transferring it to the third party, or you yourself can start your own startup and further develop that technology and commercialize. So this is another example in which inventors who didn't get rich. Daisuke Inoue inventor, he invented karaoke machine, which is anti-orchestra. So later he made 11 karaoke machine, which he leased out. And nowadays, the significance of karaoke machines. There are different kind of apps in which you can record, in this empty orchestra, you can record your songs. But he didn't patent his invention and barely made a yen. If he would have filed any patent application and transferred that technology, he would have become billionaire. So we will discuss about copyright. What is copyright? Copyright is a bundle of exclusive rights which is given to the creator of the original work. Any author and who has created that work is the real owner of that copyright. And You will be wondered to know that it is not mandatory to file copyright application for your own work, because as and when you will create any work, the rights belong to the owner, will be the creator. You yourself will be the copyright owner for that work. But it is always recommended to file copyright application for your work, because in future, if there is any contentious matters, then it is mandatory to file copyright application for your work to avoid any kind of issue. The important thing is that copyright law, it protects ideas which is expressed in a tangible form. And like if I have any idea in my mind, that idea is not copyrightable until or unless I will write down that idea on a paper, and then I can publish that, or whatever I want to do, I can do. And the important fact is that in case of any employee who has signed employment agreement, and in which it has mentioned that all the work which will be generated by the employee during the tenure of his employment, the company will be the real owner of that copyrightable subject matter, because the employee has already paid for that work. And copyright can be filed for any literary item, like any poem, any book, anything. It can be filed for any musical work, artistic work, sound recording. I forgot to mention that in case of PhD thesis, manuscript, these are not, the person who has written PhD thesis or manuscript will be the owner of that copyright. In that case, it is not mandatory to protect it through copyright. So these are the rights which are given to the creator of that work under the copyright law. Right to public display. The person can display his work publicly. They can make the derivative work from the original work. They have right to adapt that work, right to distribute that work, and right to reproduce. Now the next IP is industrial designs. It is said that product design input, it contributes 60% to its wealth generation, as well as influence 50% of the inbuilt quality of its value chain. And thereby it contributes significantly to the competitiveness of the product. And it is well said, because industrial design, it adds value to any article. So you can see all the pictures in which industrial design was granted to these products because of their unique design. I can give you one example through which you can relate this. If you want to buy any sofa set, there is sofa set A, sofa set B. But the sofa set B has unique design. It is comfortable as well, but it is very appealing to your eyes. Then what will you do? You will definitely buy sofa set B because of its aesthetic feature, its appealing nature. So it means industrial design, it plays significant role in addition of value to any product. One important thing is that industrial designs, it protect design that are applied to an article. If you have drawn any design on copy paper, it is not, you cannot file industrial design for that until or unless you have applied that design to any article. So industrial design, it protects the aesthetic feature of any article, which add values and enhances the visual appeal. Industrial design can be filed for shape, configuration, surface pattern, color or line or combination which are applied to any article. It can be 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional. The time limit for any industrial design is 10 years from the date of registration, which can be a date of first filing, and which can be further renewed as well. So you can see the picture in which industrial design was granted to these products. You can see the iPod, and it is used to store songs. Earlier, people used to store songs in pen drive. But because of this design, because it is aesthetically very appealing and very presentable, people were ready to pay 10 times higher money for this product. This is all because of its industrial design. So by protecting, it is always recommended, if your product has something unique, you have created some product, you can take the advice from product designer as well. You can take their help. They can assist you in creating the aesthetic value for your product, and in future you can find industrial design for aesthetic feature of that product. So you can file industrial design for the entire product which you have created, and any component which has unique design and applied to the device. Now the next IP is trademark. John Stewart, chairman of Quaker, he once said, "If this business were split up, I would give you the land and bricks and mortar, and I would take the brands and trademarks, and I would fare better than you." So this quotation by chairman of Quaker itself tells us the significance of trademark. Trademark helps for any startup or any company who is into business to create the brand value. I can give you example of Starbucks, Apple, or any McDonald's. So from their trademark, you are familiar with the quality which these brands are promising to you. For example, if you want to buy any phone, any Android, Samsung, Oppo, or Apple. In case of Apple, you know the brand, Apple brand, the quality which they are promising to you. So you can relate the trademark to the brand value of any business venture. Any sign, trademark can be any sign that individualize the goods of a given enterprises and distinguish them from the goods of its competitor. Now you know that how you can separate what is the quality which Samsung is giving, what are the qualities which Oppo and other phones are giving. So you can relate from their trademark, from their brands, the qualities which are associated with that particular trademark and how they are distinguishing one goods from its competitors. The term for protection of any trademark is 10 years and it can be renewable as well. Trademark can be any word mark, any logo, combination of word and logo, any shape and design. It is always said trademark should be distinctive. It should not be generic, and it should not be descriptive in nature, because descriptive marks are weak in nature. It should be fanciful and strongest. And you can file trademark if you want, if you know that your venture or your product has value potential, you can launch it in other countries as well. Then you can go through the Madrid route and file trademark application in other countries as well. I just want to give you one example. As a starter, if you want to start your business, you want to launch your product in the market, first you should file patent application for your product or process. Then you can scout for other IPs. For example, if it is any device, there can be any manual how to use that device. You can file copyright application for that manual or any written material on the product. You can file copyright application for that. And you can give any name to your product, or if you have startup, you must have any unique name. You can file trademark for that startup name as well. And why I'm saying you should always protect your IP after, as and when you have created, you should go for protecting the IP for your invention by different mode. And you will be wanted to know that Starbucks and McDonald's, when they decided to launch their product in India, first they protected their IP in India itself, and after that they launched their product, their business venture over here. So before filing any trademark, you should go for trademark search, which is very critical, because if the similar kind of trademarks are already filed or in public domain, then your application will be objected by IPO. And you should be aware about how to use your trademark. If you have filed trademark, your trademark is granted and you are not using your trademark properly, then there is no worth of having that trademark. So if you have any trademark for your product, you should use the TM. And if it is registered for any services which you are giving, then you can use the word SM. And these words can be used for the unregistered mark. But if your trademark is registered, then you can use R in a circle, because it tell others that your trademark is already registered. So these are do's and don'ts which we will discuss. Before that, I just want to read the tweet by our Honorable Prime Minister. He conveyed through his tweet that his motto for the young scientists in the country has been innovate, patent, produce, and prosper. These 4 steps will lead our country towards faster development. So this tweet, it tells us about how it is significant to work upon any invention and then protect it through IP and further develop it, and then you can commercialize that product, and you will earn revenue from that. So indirectly, IPR acts as knowledge economy, which contributes towards GDP of India. So now it depends upon us if we want to maintain the confidentiality of our invention or not, or if we want to disclose it and kill the novelty of your invention. So I think we should maintain the confidentiality of our invention and go for filing patent and other IP, because by protecting our IP, we can, in future, we can earn revenue from that. And if we will earn revenue, and indirectly, it will contribute towards GDP of India as well. Significance of patent searches, because most of the women entrepreneurs today are participating in this workshop. So being a IP and TT professional, I would suggest you all, as and when you are ready with your invention, then you should go for novelty search and patentability search. In fact, if in the very initial days when you are selecting any topic for your research. And I think most of the researchers, they they go for searches before selecting any topic. And likewise, if your invention is ready, you should perform patentability search and novelty search. Why? Because to avoid reinventing of wheel, to avoid unnecessary expenses, time on filing patent application, because it's a very expensive and time-taking process. To avoid all these issues, you should go for patentability search. You can take the help of any IP professional, because they can guide you. They can guide you all the patent application which are filed in the similar domain worldwide. And they can perform patentability search on the basis of 4 criteria. If your invention is novel or not, they will search in patent search databases, and of course literature work as well. They will search in that. And second, they will let you know if your invention has any inventive step or not. And third, sometimes about the one application of your invention, but the person who is into this profession, they can tell you. In fact, you can also scout for other uses of your product or process. And fourth, which is on the basis of Section 3 and Section 4 of Indian Patent Act, they will let you know if your product or process is patentable subject matter or not. So on the basis of that, they will recommend you if you should go for filing patent application or not. And of course, they will recommend you about the gaps area in which you can work upon or improvise your patent application or your invention. Formulation of IP strategy. For any startup, it is very significant to formulate IP strategy for your invention. And it includes where to file your patent application, which is most significant and crucial. First, if the origin of your invention in India is India, then you should file patent application in India first. And because if you have filed application in India, you will reserve the priority of your invention, and within 12 months you can decide what is the market potential of your invention in other countries. For example, if you are in the business, if you are working on any medical device or any software, for example in medical device, then you can check the market potential in other countries. How many you can check what are the target user of your product there, what are the existing competitors who are working in the same domain, and products which are available, what is the price. So on the basis of all this, you can come to know the market potential of your product or process in other countries. So that you can decide in which countries you should go. So as and when you are ready with your invention, so you should contact any IP or TT professional, because this patent application is a techno-legal document. And of course, when you disclose your invention to any professional, it is always recommended to first sign non-disclosure agreement with any professional. And then they will evaluate your invention on the basis of patentability criteria, and then you can file patent app. If it is novel, it has inventive step and patentable subject matter, then you can file patent application in the country which is origin of the invention. If you are in India, then of course you should file first application in India itself. And after that, you can scout for other IPs as well. You can check if it has aesthetic feature, or if not, you can take the help of any designer, product designer, who can assist you in creating the unique design for your product. And then you can file industrial design for that. And you can give any name, unique name to your product or process, and you can file trademark for that. And if there is any artistic work on your product, you have written something, or if there is any manual how to use that device, then you can file copyright application for that manual or the written material. This way you will create the IP portfolio for your invention. I would say IP portfolio, it is very effective if you are transferring your technology or commercializing it. So it is the full package. If I'm the buyer of your technology, I will also check how many IPs you have filed for your technology, and what is the stage of your IP as well. So, you can then check for market potential of your technology in other countries, and then you can file application in other countries. And after protecting your IP, you can further develop it, or you can launch the product, or you can give your technology to the third party who can further develop or commercialize it. So this way, this is the main thing. You can formulate proper IP strategy and take the help from the IP and TT professional who can help you in protecting your IP, and further they can help you in collaborations with industry partner who can help you in different kind of development, and also in commercialization of your technology. So this is the pitfalls of some strategy which are opted by, I would say, inventors of the technology. First is before filing patent application, disclosure of your invention. And in case of researcher, we have witnessed that they are more interested in publishing their papers on the technology, and they are also interested in putting up info on social media. They don't know after publication of your technology, about your technology, you are killing the novelty of your invention. Of course, there are some exceptional cases in as per our Indian Patent Act, in which you can still file a patent application within 12 months of publication. But still, as a IP professional, I would recommend you should refrain from any kind of publication. First, you protect your invention by filing patent application, and after that you can think of publication, because you never know, anyone who is working in the same domain can copy your idea, and before you, they can start commercializing, further development and commercializing your invention. Second is unknowingly assign IP rights to the others. So unknowingly assign IP rights to the others. So you are not aware if in case while I have seen so many cases in which researchers are not aware that IP is, they are putting the name of inventors in the patent application who have not worked on that that invention. And sometime while transferring the technology, they assign the IP rights as well. In case of startup or in case of academic institution, you should always keep researcher right with yourself. The third one is very important, disclosure of invention in front of collaborators without execution of NDA, because we are working on any invention and you need to talk to any collaborators for funding and investors. So in that case as well, first you should file non-disclosure, you should sign non-disclosure agreement to avoid any issue in future, because you never know, anyone can copy your idea and you have not signed NDA with them. They can copy your idea and they can use that, and maybe they can reverse engineer your idea and start doing their business. So it is always recommended to sign NDA with them first and then proceed with the further discussion. In fact, with the IT professional as well, you should sign. Fourth one is that students are excited to showcase their technologies on web portals, social media platforms. So they should refrain from, showcasing their technology before filing or protecting their IP. Last, and which is very crucial as well, drafting your own application without knowing the rules to save money, but ending up in losing IP. We have witnessed so many inventors, they drafted their patent application themselves, and then they ended up with losing their IP, because patent application, it is a techno legal document, and it requires all the professionals who can help you in drafting the claims perfectly, and by taking their help you can save your IP as well. So this is the Mark Getty. He said that intellectual property is the oil of the 21st century. Look at the richest men 100 years ago. They all made their money extracting natural resources or moving them around. All today's richest men have made their money out of intellectual property. And this is well said quotation by Mark. Why? Because if you will protect your IP and you can make your IP portfolio, and further you can transfer your technology and you can earn revenue from that. So I again will recommend you, before publishing your IP, you should protect your IP first and refrain from publishing, because even a single paper can kill the novelty of your invention. We have witnessed so many cases, so many good technology we have witnessed or experienced. When inventor came to us, the invention was brilliant. It was a disruptive invention, but they had lost the novelty of that invention. Why? Because they already published that invention. If they would have protected their IP, then they could have earned so much from that invention. And by this, I'm concluding my presentation. And if you have any questions regarding IPR, you can please feel free to ask me.
Any questions? I think no questions in the chat box. Thank you, Reema ji, for the session. Very informative session, and you cover all the component of IPR and providing the basic advice to the inventors before filing any invention. You have to see the what are the major precautions you have to take. I am very thankful to Reema ji. Now the next session on basically on commercialization and tech transfer. The session is on concentrate on the need of commercialization and shall cover the essential tool connect with it and success story. The speaker of this session is Dr. Pooja Bhatia. She's the Chief Manager, Innovation Technology Transfer Office, Foundation of Innovation Technology, IIT Delhi. Dr. Pooja heads Innovation IT Foundation, which is a regional tech transfer office set up in FIT with the support of National Biopharma Mission and a joint project of Government of India and World Bank. She has a unique experience in all the sphere technology, strategy and law with 15-year experience in innovation management, technology transfer, marketing, strategic partnership, industry engagement, policy development. She also has 6 years of research experience in governance of technology and bioethics. She holds an MBA degree in technology management and is a certified licensing professional and certified technology transfer professional and registered patent agent with the Indian Patent Office. Over to Pooja ji.
Thank you so much, Mitlesh ji. Good morning, everyone. Wishing you a very happy Women's Day. As Dr. Wali had earlier mentioned, we are a completely women team right now, barring one person who is a boy in our team. But we kind of tell him that, right now we are on the heavy side because we are 4 to 5 of us. But apart from that joke, I would like to share a good news which has just come in. Rima has received an award as a Global Women Leadership on this 8th. She would be given the award in the evening. So we congratulate her from our team. We are very proud of her. And I hope to hear more stories from the ladies who are out there listening to us and learn from them. So what is technology transfer? I recently had this chat with one of my friends who was quite keen to know what technology transfer is. And she asked me to simplify it in a way which is understandable to a layman. So the entire presentation is based on the chat that we had. What exactly gets transferred? We keep on saying technology transfer, but what exactly is getting transferred? So what gets transferred is data, your product, process, prototype, or maybe the connected elements of the technology like an algorithm or a software which is essential to run the technology or to automate your process. It could be a material transfer, which includes prototypes, sequences, clones, construct. We are from a bio background, so more on sequence and clones. Whenever there is a connected knowledge or an associated knowledge with the technology, be it protected or non-protected, it's transferred as know-how. Technology per se can be transferred, but sometimes it has associated IP with it. So like just Rima had explained, that you can have a portfolio of IP connected with one technology, which would help it in fetching a better revenue, getting it as a better revenue source, or enhancing the rate of commercialization. Now you can either transfer each of these separately, or you can do it together. So when you're just transferring the technology, it is technology transfer. When it is IP licensing or assignment. I would be discussing that in my latest slides. When you are transferring a material, it is material transfer. Know-how transfer is transfer of knowledge. Now, before I move on, can you give me 2 examples in our daily life where specifically we girls do it? We transfer technology or we do tech transfer. Can you give me 2 examples of it? Anyone, any examples that come to your mind? And I'm sorry, I can't see the chat, so you would have to kind of speak out. Nobody wants to try? So one is where I think Tripti had kind of touched on the recipes that we share. That is an example of know-how. We are sharing the recipes with each other. Recipes, if they clear the 3 criteria mentioned in Rima's slides, novelty, inventive step, and have a commercial application, then they can go for a patent. But if they are not patentable, still they can be transferred as a know-how. So that is one example of how something gets transferred in our day-to-day life. The other example is we share beauty tips, or what kind of beauty regime we follow, or what is the way we manage our things. How do we keep a balance between our personal life and professional life? So all these tidbits form part of the know-how transfer. So next time when you feel that you are not contributing something, just remember you are doing a know-how transfer by sharing a recipe. So feel free and share some recipes with us. We would be happy to listen to you guys. Now, technology transfer process, it's not a standalone process. It doesn't, you know, happen without any stakeholders. It has many stakeholders involved. The most important stakeholder is the technology developer who is working on the technology, creating the technology, maybe created a prototype, and then he gets the help of a person who would help it to scale it up, work it further, develop it further. Those would fall into the technology supporter category. Now, why are we developing a technology? Eventually, the aim is to ensure that it reaches to the masses. It benefits the society. So the customer is the king, and this the customer is the society to whom the technology is going to reach. And all this reach to the customer is done through a technology seeker who would be launching that technology into the market. Now, sometimes the role of technology developer and seeker are meshed together. So a technology developer can be a seeker, him or herself, and can actually take the technology ahead as an entrepreneur, create their own startup to reach to the masses. We would be discussing one of the examples of technology transfer from a women entrepreneur. I would share it in the coming slides. Now, most people think that, technology transfer is a simple process, two-step process maybe. Just you have to develop a technology and then transfer it to a technology seeker, but that's not true. It involves other two steps, which means that once you have developed a technology, you need to assess it to see if it's meeting the needs. If it is not meeting the need of the market, it will not have any value. Or if you are reinventing the wheel, as Remark correctly said, you would lose on to the value of the technology. Now, once you have developed it, assessed and given a value to the technology, you transfer it to a technology seeker. Once it is transferred, you need to monitor it as well. It's not like that you have transferred it to somebody and then you just can, leave it at that. You have to ensure that the technology is further scaled up, it's being used, it reaches to the masses, because otherwise it's defeating the purpose. The technology seeker has just taken your technology and sitting on it. So you have to do a post execution, that is the agreement execution, monitoring on it as well. In case of any tech transfer office, which helps a university or an innovator or any tech transfer professional who is helping an innovator, a startup, a research scholar, what they would do is they would first assess your technology. If you remember from my first line, I have mentioned about the assessment part. So they have to assess the technology, identify what is the unique selling point of that technology, because that will help you in creating the marketing content for selling the technology. Now, marketing of technology is uh, similar to the way we market a product. So you have to keep the principles of marketing in mind and identify the USP of that particular product or process. And then once the content is ready, you can start marketing it. And once you have identified a technology seeker who is interested in the technology, you would need to start negotiating with them to get the value that you have decided for your particular technology. And once the negotiation is over, you sign an agreement with them, which would require post transfer monitoring to ensure that what has been promised or at least agreed in the agreement is followed on. How do you actually do the technology assessment, or why is it required? I mean, you can just skip away the the process of doing it. But if you do so, you would make it difficult for the person who is in this field to understand the technology completely. Um, where do you stand in comparison to the existing art? If you need any further work on it, like is your technology on TRL level 1, TRL level 4, or in higher up? So you need to do the assessment to identify that, list the essential key features, because you would need that information to create a brochure or pitch your technology. Even when you are raising funding, you would need to give the key features of the technology. Tech assessment also helps in deciding what is the route type of technology transfer and how the technology is to be marketed. Uh, Evaluating the technology is not very simple, but you still need to do a tech assessment to understand uh, what is the right method to be followed. Tech assessment also helps in identifying partners. You would need people to work on your technology, or maybe potential clients to whom you would like to transfer the technology. This is an simplified version of the process which is done to assess the technology. It has three main parameters. One is technical strength, the second is IP strength, and the third is market potential. So now when you look at the technical strength, you do it by looking at the literature survey, as we usually do. Review of the literature survey, review of the literature to understand what is the maturity level of our technology, how feasible it is the raw material available, do we need to source it from somewhere else. In case of medical devices, drugs, biosimilars, you would need to understand the regulatory pathway involved, define if it's a new or an improvement over the existing art. Now, there are some technologies which are disruptors. They would actually disrupt the market. Now, if you remember, at one time, there used to be um, Walkman, Sony's Walkman, which was quite famous. Now it's absolutely obsolete. Nobody is using them. It's been replaced by iPads and iPods. Um, so that is kind of an example of having a new technology which is getting replaced. Improvement could be the different versions of iPod which are coming out. Where all does your technology find application? It could be a platform technology which has application in multiple domains. So you need to identify all that and put together to showcase what is the technical strength. In terms of IP strength, as Rima had discussed about the portfolio part, it is very critical to know how many types of IP are associated or are likely to be generated. So you could have a design, a patent, maybe if you're a startup, a trademark, uh, maybe one or two. You could have a jingle associated with it. So those would uh, create a portfolio of IP, which will add on to the strength of the technology. How many how many patent applications are being filed? So if you have filed one application in India, another in US, those would be counted as two separate applications, and these are adding to the portfolio. The most important part in case of IP is wherever you have filed the IP, you have the rights to enforce it there only. So jurisdiction plays a key role. You have to identify the jurisdiction on basis of the market. So both IP and market are linked. Um, any IP that is filed, it should not be such that doesn't have any novelty or inventive step, because in that case you are just filing an IP which is on paper and will not have any other value. So when you try to go in for IP protection, please do ensure that you have done a non-patent and patent search in case of patents, and trademark and design search in case of trademark and designs. Now when you come down to assessing in terms of market, that is a bit complicated. You need to look at who all are there in the market, who are competing with you. So to define your competitors, you need to know what exactly does your technology do. Unless and until you have the key features from the technical strength, you cannot do a complete competitor analysis. Then as a next step in the market, identify where all can the technology be used? Now, if you see at some technologies which are indigenous to India, they will not have application in other countries. So those are not the relevant market. You have to find the market where your technology will have an application. So that is related to identifying of markets. And definitely once you have identified the market, you have to calculate what is the size of your market, which can be done by you can start with a Google search to see the competitors, identify uh, where all it can have applications, like which are these hotspots for diabetes, or where weight management is more of a concern. You can also use other paid databases which have paid reports, market reports, to identify the competitors and the market size. Now, once you have done those 3 steps, you can identify the uniqueness of your technology. You can define what is the usefulness of your technology, what stage it is. So by maturity, I basically mean what is the technology readiness level? Is it at a very initial stage? Like for example, in universities and institutes, generally the technologies are at a lower TRL level. They do not the technologies are not more than 4 or 5 TRL levels, because that is not the mandate of the institute. So they kind of get stuck at one particular point. Then what are the differences with the existing art? How advantageous is your technology over the others? If you remember from the example of Walkman, if you compare a Walkman with an iPod, obviously iPod is more useful because you can still carry it, while Walkman was bulky. So those kind of advantages you should identify. And as we had mentioned in the technical assessment, remember to identify the areas of application. Root is a very simple thing. You have to decide on basis of if an IP is associated or not, and how would you transfer it. So if there is no IP associated, it would generally lie into 2 categories, which is know-how transfer. Remember my example of recipes. Technology transfer is where you have a product or process developed, but it's not protected by any of the patent. Um, so then it is a non-IP associated technology, so you can transfer it through technology transfer. The other category of technology transfer can be IP associated, where either you can have single IP like just patents, or you can have multiple IPs, combination of patents, copyright, design. So then you can either go in for licensing or assignment, or you can create a spin-off. So in case of universities and institutes, when you start up a company based on your own IP, your own IP in the sense you have created it, but it's owned by the university. So when you create a startup on that, you are licensing it from the university and creating a spin-off. Joint ventures are when 2 organizations bring together their IP, or maybe non-IP protected, one has a non-IP protected technology and one has an IP protected technology, and they are coming together. That is a joint venture. Now, between both no IP and IP associated cases, you can also find another example where the technologies are developed based on the need. So some technology seeker comes up and says to the technology developer, they have this problem and they are looking for a solution. So in that case, the technology is developed and then it is transferred. Again, it can be a non-IP associated transfer, or it can be an IP associated transfer. There are different modes of licensing. Licensing is a type of technology transfer where you are licensing the IP. To explain the difference between licensing and assignment, licensing is when you are leasing out your technology or IP for use by the others. Assignment is when you are completely giving it off. If I give us more simpler example, like you rent a house, that is licensing. When you sell off the house, that is That is assignment. So in case of assignment, you are completely losing the rights, the IP rights on your technology, while in case of licensing, you still retain them. Now, there are different types of licensing which can happen. You can either transfer it to just one technology developer called as the licensee. Licensee is the party which is going to get the license. Licensor is the party which gives out the license. So when you have one licensee, it becomes exclusive. We generally advise the universities and other startups, if they are giving out any exclusive license, to ensure that they keep or retain the non-commercial rights with them. Non-exclusive licenses when you are giving out to multiple licensee. So that has an advantage because you're not limited to one party or one technology seeker or one company. You can actually give it out to multiple companies and have a multiple source of revenue. The third type is limited, where you can limit it on basis of parameters, like you can give it if you have different patents in different jurisdictions or different copyrights in different jurisdictions, you can give it on basis of the jurisdiction. You can give on basis of applications. If your technology has multiple applications, you can give each one of them one particular application. So it is a limited license. In that case, again, it is going to multiple companies. But here, the rights stay with the owners. In case of licensing, the rights always stay with the licensor, which is the owner, but exclusive right licensing is more of something similar to assignment, where the licensor doesn't have much of rights. But in case of non-exclusive and limited, the licensor, which is the owner, has rights to ensure that they can still use it at their own end. Now, what are the different types of licensing? So here we have spoken about modes of licensing. Now we are discussing about the types of licensing. It can be a social cause licensing, like we had an example in IIT Delhi, where one of the technologies, which is a smart cane technology, useful for the visually impaired people. So that was a social cause technology which was licensed as a social cause licensing. Then there are some, not some, actually most of them have a commercial aspect connected with them. So they are licensed out for commercial purpose. Remember, I mentioned about non-commercial purpose, which is the academic for the use of the academics. Now, commercial is where you are selling it out. So that kind of licensing is going to get you more revenue. In case of social cause, the revenues would be less in comparison to the commercial type of licensing. Now, perpetual is you don't have a limit on the years where you have licensed it. Some of the license agreements would say till the end of the life of the patent. So it is kind of perpetual because you are not negotiating again. Once you have done the license, the deal is done. There are no other changes. It's perpetual till the life of the patent. In case of patents, there are these four terms which are generally used. It is cross licensing. So if company A, say Pepsi, and company B, which is Coca-Cola, have a patent, so both of them kind of license it to each other. That is cross licensing. Taking the same example, if Coca-Cola and Pepsi put together their patents for use for the public, that is pooled licensing. And if they are forced by the patent office of a country, especially like in case of India, we have sections in the Indian Patent Act which ensure that if the technology is not available to the society and it is something of national relevance, then a compulsory license is given out. Voluntary licensing has come up in the COVID times, where most of the companies have voluntarily given licenses to the company. They would advertise that this is the application, we are giving out the license, please take it. So those are voluntary licensing. Now, in case of IP specific, you you can have patent related licensing, or you can have trademark and copyright licensing. Now, when you license trademark and copyright, you are contributing to the branding part. If you are aware of the Disney characters, now most of the Disney characters are used for merchandise, printing on the merchandise. So those are kind of branding techniques of Disney. They reach out to the masses to keep them reminded of the characters which they have. So do also, when you think of licensing, think of trademark and copyright. Don't just focus on the patent licensing. In our earlier slides, I had talked about why it is necessary to do the assessment, how to do the assessment. So once you have done all those, conducted all the assessments and identified the USP, you need to start marketing it. That is how you reach to the technology seekers or get the licensee or assignee for your own technologies. But remember, while you're marketing, don't get over enthusiastic. Don't give out any confidential information about your technology. Evaluate your technology, get a market feedback, or allow the potential licensee or assignee to have that option of doing a test run in the market. Keep it time limited so that you also get the feedback, you also get the data, and the company is satisfied with the technology before they take it up. Or if you feel that is not a feasible option for you, you can go in for third party validation study. So you can contract it out to say some group of experts in institutes, not your own institute, from other institute. You can give it out to them to validate it, or you can give out to companies or contract research companies which are there, who can test your technology and give you the data. So when you have the validation or the third party testing data with you, it gives a kind of confidence to the buyer that yes, this technology is working. How do you market your technology? Either you can go and interact with the companies on one-on-one basis, like you look at their websites, identify them, and then reach out to them. Or you can look for connects in the companies. You might have a friend or your friend's friend, uh, maybe some other connects. Even through PhD chamber, you can find out different connects who can help you in identifying the relevant person in their company to help you with the technology transfer process. Identifying the relevant company is the toughest part, because if you are not targeting the right companies, you are actually not doing the marketing right. So you have to look for the relevant companies that would come from the competitor analysis. You would know who are working in this domain, um, and then you can get in touch with them. Other way is social media. Everybody gets down to LinkedIn and post their technologies, but remember, please do post only non-confidential information. Do not post any confidential information, and ensure that you have already an IP on it before you start marketing it. You can also go through the exhibition route and publications. I would now start with the case studies. This one I think everybody would relate with. It's on adhesive strip. So most of the times when we are working, we do cut our hands. So same was the case with Mrs. Dixon, who used to have nicks and cuts on her hand, and her husband was quite perturbed. Then what is it happening? How does she end up having so many cuts and nicks on her hand and she can't cook? So he thought, let me come out with a solution. So he gave her a solution that if there is any cut today, just strap on some cotton gauze and tape it. So in the evening, he comes, there's still no food, and he is like, what happened? So she replies, I needed help to tape it. So now he thought, okay, I have to come up with another strategy. So he came up with a product which had tapes attached to the side of the gauze. So she didn't have to do anything, just put it and take off the part from these tapes from the side and stick it to her hand or wherever the finger, wherever the cut is. And both of them thought this is a very interesting product. They went and discussed it with their boss. Now, I would like to ask you this question. In this case, what all was licensable, and what did Mr. Dixon do? what was the strategy did it adopt? Like, did he go and give it away to the company he was working from, licensed it to them, or worked along with them to develop it further? Again, I can't see any chats, so I would request everyone to please use the mic. Hello, anyone there? So you have to tell me that what is licensable here? What is it that Mr. Dixon can license it out? Okay, Jaya says
Excuse me,
the
ma'am.
idea. Yes, please. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Pooja.
Chat box. Right. So Jaya has said that it's the idea that can be licensed. What else can be licensed other than the idea? Right. So the technology he used to develop the product, even that can be licensed. Now, in this case, I'm sure you all would have by now realized that this is the Johnson and Johnson Bandit, uh, which we are talking about. This is how it came into the picture. This is how they had developed it. And initially, it was more with the tapes, and later on, they came up with the adhesive part. So, what Mr. Dixon actually did was he went and spoke to his boss and shared the idea and told him that this is at a very rough stage, but I would be happy to develop it further. And they gave him all the resources to work on it. And eventually, it was developed along with the technology, and number of IPs were filed. And Mr. Dixon was an inventor on it. So even though Mrs. Dixon also had a role to play, but her name was not there as an inventor. This is an example of the IIT Delhi technology, which is used for filtration, and it helps in, you don't need a sophisticated device or anything to implement it. So this technology was developed by two innovators, Dr. Anusuya Roy and um, her guide, and she will be here today discussing her story with you all. So, this technology was licensed to her company. She formed a startup under the Biotech Ignition Grant scheme of BIRAC, and we had given her a license on two different modes. So, one was where she would use it for commercial purpose, and the other was for the social activity. So, through for the social cause licensing, the rates of royalty or the revenue generation for the institute was different, while for the commercial, it was different. So, today she would be there, Anusuya, to share her story. So, I won't share much of the details other than what we have licensed to her. I move on to the next case study. This is a very interesting technology which was developed in 2011. It was licensed out in 2012 to two companies. So, this technology reduces the odor which comes out from the toilet and the water consumption as well. But the two companies were not able to create any market. They kind of did not identify the right customer to reach out to, and they failed in marketing it. So they had the license for around 3 years and then they did not renew it. So the innovators were quite upset because they were wanting it to reach the market. So they decided and they created their own startup. Now, when they did that, uh, they were given a license initially for 5 years as non exclusive to test out if they can reach a particular number of customer base. Once they did that, then the next renewal was for again 5 years, but this time exclusive license. And they again were successful in meeting the milestones laid for them. So finally, IIT Delhi had kind of completely assigned the technology and the IP to them. And the IP now is a granted patent, and they have reached out to a lot of the institutes and companies in Delhi and across India where they have got this installed, and they also have received a lot of awards for it. So now if you look in this example, the first two companies, they did not put in the efforts to make it work, while in the second case where a spin-off was formed, because it was the innovators themselves who were involved, it was their own baby, so they could put in the efforts to ensure that it sees the light of the day and it reaches to the market. So, depending upon the technology and the interest of the innovators, sometimes you have to take a call to decide how or what is the best strategy to be adopted. And again, you have to keep in mind that once you have licensed it or transferred the technology, that's not the end of it. You have to continuously monitor to see if the companies are sleeping on it or are actually working on it. Now, most people believe that any technology that they develop can be transferred. That is not true. The technology which meets the need of the hour, which has a need in the market, which is in line with what the customer, if you remember the first picture I had shown where the customer is the king. So if the customer needs are getting matched with what are the features of your technology, then that can be transferred, else there would be no market for this technology. IP protection is must before you transfer a technology. That is not true, though we advise that you have an IP protection. But in case there is no, um, say for example, in recipes, if it is not patentable, you can still transfer it. Or if you have a technology which is not patentable in India, like softwares, anything associated with softwares is not patentable. So then it's not that you cannot transfer that technology or find a licensee for that technology. You can do that. It's not mandatory that you have an IP, though it is good to have an IP associated with it. Similarly, even if you have just filed an IP, it is at an early stage of the filing process, you can still transfer it. It doesn't need to be granted. Earlier, the patent office used to take a lot of time for granting, but now it has come down to 3 years, 3+ years. But again, even before the grant of the IP, you can choose to transfer it. You don't have to wait till you kind of get a granted um, certificate that your your IP is now granted. You can do it before that. Anyone can transfer a technology. Yes, definitely. If that was possible, then everybody would be doing it. You would need the help of a professional to decide the legal nitty-gritties, to draft the term sheet, to get the correct valuation of the technology, which is not possible otherwise. Technology transfer has a lot of benefits. It helps in generation of new products and process, disseminates non-patentable or patentable ideas, helps in finding linkages, connecting with others, increasing the brand value, revenue generation, and it's definitely a source of entrepreneurship. Enablers for technology transfer, you need to have technology tools to facilitate the process, policy framework. In India, we do have the relevant acts which help in IP protection. So that is part of the policy framework, and you need skilled people to help you with it. So with this, I conclude my presentation and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you so much, Pooja ji, for sharing the entire session on technology transfer, and you touch the every aspects about the commercialization from the innovation point of view. In the chat box, one question, ma'am, can idea can be copied? Can you answer this question, ma'am?
Yes, just a second. Can an idea be copied? Yes, it can be copied if you have disclosed it. So I am not sure with what reference you are mentioning, but if you have an idea and you have put it in public domain, then definitely anybody can copy it.
Okay, thank you so much, Pooja ji. Today workshop basically on innovation management for women entrepreneurship. And in entrepreneurship, innovation is one of the important component, and other is basically the funding and finance, where entrepreneur can get some funding and he can start his venture. So we have a special session on funding scheme for women entrepreneur, and session cover all the various financial scheme launched by micro units, which could go on a long way in boosting women entrepreneur. And that session taken by Dr. Ashutosh Pastor. He's a manager incubation foundation for IIT Delhi. Brief profile of Mr. Ashutosh. He's a managing startup incubation at IIT Delhi, and he's supporting implementation of various funding schemes for innovator and entrepreneur in biotechnology domain like Biotech Leap, Seed, Leap, Pfizer IT, Innovation and IP program, and many other government CSR funded schemes. He has completed his PhD from IIT and associated with FIT since 2015, when the biotechnology business incubation facility was started at IIT Delhi. He is closely associated with various biotechnology startup and is always interested to interact with innovators, scientists, as well as various institutes across country. Mr. Ashutosh, today we have some students from ESL also, and some students from Mother Teresa University from Biotech Division also. So can you elaborate which are the right scheme, and you can share your knowledge among the participants. Over to you.
Yeah, very good afternoon to all of you, and thank you, Mr. Mithilesh, for a kind introduction. I'll keep it short. I think I just have 30 minutes, so I would like to keep it around 20 minutes and then have more of interaction with the people, with everybody in the group today. So we're talking about women entrepreneurship. So I mean, happy Women's Day to everybody here today, first of all, and we'll start. So I think I'll just share a short presentation that I have, which lists out a few schemes that we have for women entrepreneurs, and in general, I'll tell some examples like people who have done really good, women entrepreneurs who have done really good and are like now going to market. So I'll just share a short screen with you, if I'm allowed to. Yeah. Okay, so I hope everybody is able to see my screen now. Is it visible?
Visible.
Okay, so thanks a lot. So I think we at FIDT are trying to help out entrepreneurs, and also like about 20% of our startups, more than 20% of our startups are women entrepreneurs, like where the main founder is a woman entrepreneur. So a lot of people are coming up and there's a good traction. I would just like to highlight FIDT's role. I think maybe you will already know. So like overall, we take part into various different things, and entrepreneurship is one of them, one of the major verticals that we have, and we have supported more than 125 startups till now, and are expanding our incubation network now. So I think we'll be very happy to help more and more entrepreneurs, and especially women entrepreneurs in these domains. So without going too much into these details, I mean, one of the major component that FITD brings in for entrepreneurs is in terms of the kind of mentoring, support, and even a lot of funding programs that we have. So primarily, I'll be speaking about some funding programs that are present here. And as you mentioned, like, I mean, also a lot of biotech people are here. So I think it'll be really relevant to them, because on the major schemes, in fact, the flagship schemes of BIRAC, is open currently, and anybody who's interested to put up an application there, I think we'll be happy to connect and help them out. This is the kind of startup incubation. I mean, just a brief on the startup incubation at IIT Delhi. So we started in 1999 with a small unit. We started a specific dedicated unit for biotechnology startups in 2014. And then also our adult incubation unit was started a couple of years back. So dedicated facilities are also coming up in our research parks. IIT Delhi at Sonipat is having the AIC, where we're going to have rapid prototyping and all that. And the Research and Innovation Park at IIT Delhi, it's almost near completion, and in a couple of months we might be there. So there we're going to have special facilities for entrepreneurs, especially in the electronics domain, the biotech domain, and various other, especially in materials and other things also. So is the kind of support that an academic incubator provides to entrepreneurs, and especially in academic institutes, I think there's a really good place to start as an entrepreneur at an early stage, where you're just having like a lot of ideas, and many of you are doing researches during your PhDs or MTech theses and bringing with ideas. So I mean, at this stage you have all the energy and really good ideas to start with, and that's where a startup incubator can actually practically help you out. So these are the brief points. Like IP and tech transfer is some of the things where is a very important thing, where actually the research you're doing in your academic lab can be translated through your startup or through another company. But it's more about also helping you out and encouraging you yourself to do startups, and then guiding you through the business plans. The whole ecosystem, in fact, helps, as there are a lot of other startups you're working with. So a lot of challenges that you face, you learn from your peers, and you kind of sometimes share resources with peers and all. So whole ecosystem is actually very important, and one of the important roles of academic incubators is to build such an ecosystem in the institute where everybody can be benefited through that. Now, FITT is already doing a lot of efforts in promoting women entrepreneurship. We are part of the Women Entrepreneurship and Empowerment Program, which DST is supporting, and FITT has already done 4 cohorts of that program. You can see some images on the left side. And again, like we are regularly doing this program. We also started the Wing program with Invest India last year, but I think due to the lockdown and all, the program structure was changed, and probably the kind of impact we wanted was not there. So the program is postponed, maybe like canceled for the time, and maybe coming up in new versions. And also, like, a lot of funding support has gone to women entrepreneurs, as you can see on this slide. In the V program, a lot of women entrepreneurs have participated, and I mean, total support of 125 lakhs is given through this program itself to women entrepreneurs. So there's a lot of traction, there's a lot of peers available to learn from, and all these women entrepreneurs who have gone through these programs now act as mentors to the new entrepreneurs who are about to start, and a lot of guidance is available in that sense. I would primarily talk about some of the funding programs that are available, and these programs are available at FITT at various stages of your entrepreneurship journey. So right at the stage of ideation, immersion is available. So when you're just thinking about something but not sure whether you should go ahead with a startup or not, where would you find the support? And also there are programs like immersion. So BIRAC Spursh is one of the programs for biotechnology, and even other graduates to look into. So the basic eligibility is that you need to complete a master's degree, and then you can apply for this program. What we do is, like, we provide you a fellowship of 50,000 rupees and then help you with immersion. So you go to fields, you understand things. So I mean, I have like maybe different slides for these programs, but I'll just list out these. So in terms of immersion and at ideation stage, there are some support options available, like this batch of 69 Innovation Awards and Student Startup 1, 2, 3, 4, which is so one of these is available only for IIT students, but Spursh is open to everybody and anybody can apply to that. And the next call we'll be launching somewhere by the mid of 2021. At pilot scale also, there are a lot of programs available. So, but before that, I think the product development and validations need to be talked about. So that's a stage before the pilot scale. So BIRAC BIG is there, as I told you, it's one of the flagship programs of BIRAC. And it's open as of now. So I mean, anybody who's interested to apply can apply to that. I'll talk a little bit more about that in one of the subsequent slides. We're also doing a program with Pfizer, which is supporting health tech and healthcare innovations. We're having a platform for harnessing deep technology, which is called the PhD Incubator Program. So we're looking at advanced and futuristic technologies to be supported through this program. For faculty members right now, I mean, it's just open for IIT Delhi faculty members. So I won't talk about, but it's a great example of one of the programs like where the institute is supporting its own faculty members with some financial aid and policies like a sabbatical and lien to help them out to do their startups and take it forward while reducing their workload in terms of their academic duties through these leaves. With Sona Comstar, we're doing a program for safe, clean, and eco-friendly mobility. Mighty's Tide program is available in two forms, EIR and grants, and I'll be talking having one slide probably for each of these programs. So I won't go too much into detail, but then again, like at pilot scale, there are some programs available. At market entry stages, there are some programs available. And also for training and mentoring, there are dedicated programs available. So at whatever stage you are, I mean, it would be great if you want, connect with us and we'll try and help you out with your further goals of commercializing your product. So Batch of 610 Innovation Awards is open to IIT Delhi as of now, so I won't be talking about it. But then Bharat Sparsh or SIIP is a very important program where we take 5 individuals every year, and then we take them to industry, clinics, maybe rural areas. It's an immersion program where they go and find relevant challenges, or if they already have something in mind, they can actually go and talk to customers and figure out how exactly to go ahead with the program or go ahead with their startup. So a stipend of 50,000 rupees per month is available for 18 months. And then the initial 6-month immersion period, once it is over and they pitch in like what kind of solutions they are developing, what are the major challenges that they are targeting. So then we provide them a Kickstart grant of 5 lakh rupees to start working on those. So while it's a very early stage, 5 lakh would be used for generating some initial preliminary data, which can then further be used and they can apply to programs which are at a higher stage like BIRAC, BIG, which is more in terms of developing proof of concept or initial prototypes, and also some later stage programs. So anybody who's a master's in sciences can apply to this. As I told, like in the middle of the year, probably we'll be launching another call for this. The selections is primarily based on areas of interests, your ideas and credentials. But again, like we don't want you to be coming up with a very hard mind that this is what I want to work with, because in immersion, we want you to explore and we want you to think some unlearning and then new learning, it has to be taken care of. So while you come up with an idea, but then improving on that idea and then probably coming up with a better version is expected. BIRAC BIG is one of the flagship schemes. It is open till 15th of March of this year. And I think this is one of the most relevant programs for anybody who has done some preliminary work and still looking for a good amount of funding to prove their concept or maybe develop prototypes, early prototypes or late stage prototypes. And so this is an 18-month program again, where a grant in it of up to 50 lakh rupees is available to entrepreneurs. And FITD is one of the major implementing partners and one of the oldest implementing partners. So this scheme started in 2012 and now we are in the 18th call of it. And we've supported close to 100 startups through this program now. So application is through the BIRAC website itself, but then you can choose FITT as one of the big partners, and we'll be happy to help you in terms of the business plan, in terms of drafting your proposal, in terms of then helping you, guiding you on the presentations and everything, the pitching part. As told with Pfizer, we have another unique programs called the Pfizer IIT Delhi Innovation IP program, which supports healthcare and health tech innovations. So there are 2 components of this program. One was an innovation grant, where you get a funding of up to 60 lakh rupees for 24 months and incubation support at IIT Delhi to develop your prototypes. And there was another component which is called an IP filing support, which is basically helping you with up to 3 lakh rupees for your patent filing needs. As I wrote, the platform for harnessing deep technologies, we'll be launching this program again in the summer, probably this year. So here we are looking at more advanced technologies, state-of-the-art technologies, or maybe more futuristic technologies. So a very unique program where we provide you a 50 lakh rupee funding plus free incubation at IIT Delhi, plus free boarding and lodging for the project leaders for a period of 2 years. So anybody interested in this program could also get in touch with us, and we'll be happy to help. There's also a program from MIT called Tide 2. So this is open to everybody, I think. While the program primarily talks about IoT, AI, blockchain, robotics, etc., but the areas could be it's open to a wide variety of areas, be it healthcare, education, agri, infra, transportation, clean tech, clean energy, even fintech, like digital payments and everything. So many emerging areas are covered in this. So as long as the solution is IoT based or AI based, and you're targeting any of these, so if you're making a medical wearable device, it could also be supported in this. So there are two components in this program. One is an entrepreneur in residence, where a fund support of 4 lakh rupees and 1 year incubation is provided to the fellow. And there's also a grant available for companies, which is a 7 lakh rupee grant, but not stopping at that. So the once they are through this and they've started developing their products, we can also recommend for another 40 lakh seed support the ministry. Then there's Nidhi Seed Support Program, which is also available for incubatee startups. So if anybody wants, they can come and incubate with us. And again, like, this program may also be available at other incubators. So wherever it's available, you can incubate. But for this program managed through us, you have to incubate at IIT Delhi, and then take it as a support. So the funding quantum generally is to the tune of 25 lakh rupees. However, it can go up to 1 crore. So it's a debt cum equity model. So you can take it as an investment. So I think most of the startups at the incubator are availing this funding support, which is yeah. Then with Sona Comstar, we have started another program called Sona Comstar IIT Delhi Innovation Program for Safe, Clean and Smart Mobility. So any startups working in the domains of e-mobility, smart mobility, they can apply to this, and we support 2 startups each year with a funding of up to 80 lakh rupees to develop the proof of concept. There's also seed support from Engineers India Limited called the EngSui program. So in like up to 1 crore of seed support is available, and we are also going to launch an innovation challenge here. So this is primarily available to startups who are working in the areas of environment, clean energy, etc. So they can avail this program, avail this funding. Then again, BIRAC Seed Fund is available. So any startup which has completed the proof of concept and now open to gaining traction in the market and about to get some customers and all, they can apply for this. So if you're incubated anywhere in the country, you can still avail the seed support. So we generally like put in call for applications twice a year, and based on the availability of the funds, and then the startup can pitch in for this investment. Again, BIRAC is also having a similar program called a LEAP Fund, where up to 1 crore of support is available, primarily towards commercialization and scaling up. With the Defense Innovations Organization, FITT is also part of this program. It's called the IDEX, Innovations in Defense Excellence. So if you have any specific product which can cater to defense forces, there are 2 components of this program. One is a grant challenges where defense forces lay out some very particular challenges, and if you can pitch in for a solution in any of those challenges. But also there's an open innovation challenge which is there. So if you feel that you're developing something which will be of extreme use for the defense forces, you can also apply to the open innovation challenge. So the applications are done through IDEX website only. If you're selected, then so I mean we can again like for all these programs in terms of helping with the pitch, in terms of helping with developing your business plans, and also I think the incubator tries and helps you out and all these things. So I mean again, if you want, you can connect with us. So in this case, a 1.5 crore grant is available, but a matching in kind or in cash contribution is expected to be coming from the startup or the MSME. This program, as I told, Women Entrepreneurship and Empowerment, we have been doing for 4 years now. This is the 5th year. So we support 30 women entrepreneurs each year, and top 5 selected women entrepreneurs also get a seed fund of 5 lakh rupees. So it's a 2-month program where we have weekend classes in terms of like helping you understand finances, compliances, IP, many other things. And at the end, when your pitch is ready, so you pitch in front of the committee, and then they can support you with some initial grant as well. FID is also part of POSOCO Power Systems Award, which is again for students working in areas of power transmission, storage, delivery, and etc. FID has also been one of the front runners in the National Entrepreneurship Award. So the first version of the National Entrepreneurship Award was done by us, and now also we take part of some regions in India to help them and submit applications and promoting, basically helping and encouraging people to apply for these programs. We'll talk about a few women entrepreneurs and startups at FIDT. So Dr. Shalini, Dr. Sushmita Ghosh, Dr. Shalini Gupta, Dr. Ranjana, all of them were like faculty members at different institutions, and then they did their startups, and I think were able to develop their products, and still the startup is moving ahead. So as you see, like I won't talk too much about each of them, but I'll just give you a glimpse. Like for example, kind of projects they were working on is like one is diagnostic reagent, one is a rapid point of care device for endotoxin detection, and then Dr. Ranjana was developing a new DNA-based kit for accurate diagnosis of TB. So these were more into diagnostics. We also have some more women entrepreneurs. Dr. Sarita, she's in fact doing a couple of more startups apart from the startup that she started with, Phase Laboratories. So it's doing a novel high resolution digital holographic microscope and an AI model to detect cervical cancers. Dr. Aarti Sharma worked on production upscaling of PHAs from waste industry, from food industry wastes. Dr. Aparna is working into novel low-cost diagnostics for neonates. Apurva Bedekar is working on surgical tools. Dr. Vandita is there. Dr. Pooja Venkatesh is there. Then we have Sivanshi, who's more into enzymatic biotransformations. Dr. Pooja Goswami into diagnostics again with very specific and cutting-edge technologies. Dr. Sakshi is working on alcohol breath analyzers. Anusuya, I think you just interacted with her, so she's part of this meeting, and she'll be telling more about the product. So I won't discuss too much there. Dr. Ruchi is there. She's a maxillofacial surgeon and are working towards fabrication of patient-specific facial rehabilitation systems. Dr. Varsha is working for an eye diagnosis, portable point-of-care diagnostic device for your eye ocular health. So I mean, a lot of women entrepreneurs are here who can help you out, who can mentor you, and they themselves are doing really good. I mean, all of these women entrepreneurs I mentioned right now have completed the technology description. Some of them are already into market, and some of them will be in the market very soon. So I won't take too long. I mean, I would like to have more discussions. So in case you have any queries regarding any of the funding programs or any other thing, I think we'll be happy to discuss that. So yeah, open to questions. Yeah, so any of you having a question, maybe either can type in the chat box or maybe just unmute ourselves and ask. No problem.
Sir, one question is coming from Dr. Bharti. Any specific funding support program for rural women entrepreneur?
Yes, so I mean, apart from these, so I primarily mentioned about some technology-based innovation grants that are available. But again, for rural women entrepreneurs also, there are certain programs available. So I think Annapurna scheme is one of the programs which supports women entrepreneurs directly available from the ministry. I can share some more details about that on email if you want. But yeah, Annapurna scheme is something which you can search and you can look for. So that supports rural women entrepreneurs who are working in the areas of food technology and others.
Sir, I have one question. Being sir, you have shown so many schemes of government scheme supporting women entrepreneur. Is any scheme for, you can say, the simple MBA student and he want to start his own venture, where how IIT Delhi can help?
So again, like it depends on what kind of a plan you have. If it's more of like a service-based model, then I think right now for service-based models, the government programs are less, but I mean, there are some easy loans available for MSMEs, like Mudra loan and others are available, which can be taken to start small businesses. But in terms of the technical programs that we have, they're more in terms of product innovation. So I mean, even an MBA student, if they're having technical background during their graduation and all, if they want to develop some product, even a software for that matter, can avail some of these schemes like their Mighty Tide program and others. So these are available for MBA students also, and even for the biotechnology ignition grants. So only thing is that we need is like somebody who has maybe done the graduation in one of the science subjects, and then after, I mean, in fact, an MBA will be an added advantage so that you bring some business skills also with you. But if it's complete MBA without any technical knowledge, then in that case, I think even Tide, if you're developing something, but then again, like as I told, like some kind of seed support and loans are still available for those things.
So many programs from your organization, and we will do continued program in future endeavor also. Thank you so much, Dr. Ashutosh.
Thank you.
Since we are doing this program very early and the inaugural is very limited, so we have a time, so we can wind up this session as early as possible. We are skipping lunch and we can wind up as early as possible. Thank you so much. Now the next session on women entrepreneurs sharing her entrepreneur journey. The session from various industry will cover their entrepreneur journey and strategy they use to overcome challenges and attain successful outcome. Today we have two eminent women entrepreneur, successful women entrepreneur. They share their journey. So may I invite Dr. Ansuya Rai. She's a founder of NanoSafe Solution. And the brief profile of Dr. Ansuya. She has completed PhD degree from IIT Delhi in 2019. She has founded a startup NanoSafe Solution Private Limited with a Professor Mangala Joshi, Professor IT, with an academic spin-off from her PhD work. She is also recipient of Biotechnology Ignition Grant supported by BIRAC DPT in 2019. She was a DAD fellow from IIT DAD, Master Scholarship, and she has contributed 11 published paper in peer-reviewed journal, microbial functioning polymer nanocomposite material as a base material for making container and bottles. Mandy, share your journey and share your knowledge and wisdom to among entrepreneurs. Thank you so much, Dr. Anshuni.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kumar, for the wonderful introduction. I am very privileged and enthralled to be a part of this platform which celebrates International Women's Day, and it makes me immensely proud to deliver a talk in which I would like to motivate and inspire new generation women entrepreneurs as well. So give me a couple of seconds to share my screen here, and I would also like to stop my video for better bandwidth. So I hope my screen is visible now.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. So the topic of today's presentation is innovation at NanoSafe Solutions. And I have aligned this talk in accordance to the theme of International Women's Day, which is Choose to Challenge. And this is going to be a very informal presentation in which I would like to deliver a talk on how I started my entrepreneurship journey, what are the challenges I faced, and how it motivated me to continue on the same path. So let me begin with something that is something that we already know, but we need to remind ourselves time and again. So it is not about making women stronger and empowered. They are already strong, and I do believe that. So they are already strong. So what needs to change is it's about changing the way the world perceives that strength. So with that brief quote, I would like to begin my presentation. And let me begin let me share with you the story of the journey I had as an entrepreneur. So I have completed my master's as well as my PhD from IIT Delhi. And, at near completion of my PhD, when I had quite a good number of published papers and patents to my name, I just realized that the research work that I did in my PhD, will it just remain as a paper bound volume, or will it just remain as published papers? And because there is no one to take that research from lab scale and translate it to a commercial scale. So that is something that really bothered me. And I was trying to find out ways to go about it to solve this problem when I stumbled upon biotechnology ignition grant. So this particular grant, as Dr. Ashutosh has just outlined in his previous presentation, is given to entrepreneurs, wannabe entrepreneurs who wants to take technology from lab scale to proof of concept stage. So I applied for biotechnology ignition grant. The project was initiated. I was working towards scalability of my lab based research work, and there were a lot of challenges involved. The first prototype came out in October 2019, but while doing so I stumbled upon a lot of challenges. There are huge challenges for scaling up of the material. There was challenge to penetrate the industry, but however we did it all. We made the first prototype, then when we went in for user trials, made the second prototype as well, and everything was set, and we were about to have our first product, which is an antimicrobial water storage container, bottles and containers actually. So this is a very special kind of a product in which, if you store water in these bottles and containers, the water will be microbiologically clean within 30 minutes. So that was the product that we were aiming to do. But what else happened in March 2020? India went into a lockdown phase. So there we were, having put at least a year and a half of effort to bring this product into the market, and the user trials were the alpha trials were near complete. We had a ready product, and yet we faced lockdown at that particular point of time. It was very easy for us at that point of time to just give up and wait till the lockdown is lifted, so that everything opens up, so that the market routes are more easy and facilitated. But at that point of time, we thought that we could use the lockdown to our advantage. We thought that we can try for innovations which are actually in demand, in view of the present COVID-19 pandemic. So at April 2020, we realized that masks are in acute shortage. So let me share with you a story about how we built the NSafe mask, and from where we started our journey of having conceptualized the journey of building NSafe mask. So before coming to that, let me share with you a failure story as well, because we believe that failure is actually a part of the success. Failure are the stepping stones on which we step, and then we reach success at the end. So let me tell you a small story about a personal story, albeit. When I was doing my bachelor's at Kolkata, I always had this different streak in me that wanted me to do something different in life. So I'm much of a risk taker and much of a challenge-philic person. So when I joined my BTech, I wanted to be the general secretary of the Students' Union of the college, and I built my resume and my CV in such a way so that when I will be in the third year of my BTech, I would actually be a good candidate for that post. So I participated in a lot of shows, participated in a lot of elections of student bodies. I became a good orator and did a lot of stuff. I did a lot of extracurricular activities as well, so that the election process is easier. But when I reached third year, at the day of the election, I actually lost. Why I lost, later I realized, is at that point of time, back in 2009, people were not open to a woman leader. People were not open and very happy about the fact that someone who's a woman is gonna lead from the top, and he's gonna suggest and implement new law and order for the institute. And that one mentality, that one gender gap led me to lose the election. And I was deeply hurt and saddened by that, because I have put a lot of efforts. And these are the some of this is one failure story I would like to kind of share with you all. And there has been many failure stories as well, but this particular leadership aspect and that particular hunger to do more in life, it stayed on for me. And during this lockdown phase, so I'll come back to the story, the point of the story I was. So during that lockdown phase, when I had the first product ready, and there were no sales channels built up at that moment, we thought that why not we build a mask which is very different from the other masks in the market. So back to March 2020, April 2020, India was in lockdown mode. People resorted to using non-woven based masks, which they were washing and reusing, which is a utterly wrong practice, because then the filtration is not any more effective if you wash the mask. And government made masks to be worn every day by the general public, so that is why they were reusing it. And we thought that we can make a reusable mask. So given the background that I come from, a textile engineering background, and then having experience in polymer and nanotechnology as well, we thought that we can build a mask which is reusable up to 50 times. And during that lockdown phase, when everything was closed, we went to work. In fact, at that point of time, we were working around 16 to 18 hours a day for making of this mask, because at that time the demand was surging, and we had to make this product come into the market by end of 15 days. Yes, that's right. So within 15 days, we selected the raw materials, we selected the manufacturing house, we ensured that the quality is in because that was during a pandemic. So utmost care about hygiene has to be taken care of as well. So we ensured that the quality is maintained. We assembled near about 1,000 people who can manufacture that. And this was all happening when there was no transport system available. So we had to rely on personal transports, we had to rely on people, we had to go door by door to collect materials, we had to take people and then drop them back at their home. So we had to do that, and we did that. And within end of 15 days, we could make ready this NSafe mask, which was which was phenomenally popular when it was launched in May 2020. So it was launched on May 6th May 2020. And the phone call started ringing, the phone started ringing, and there were no time even to answer the call. The mask was that much popular at that point of time, and it gave us immense happiness to have delivered a product at a time of need to our fellow Indian citizens. What's more was, manufacturing, because China was the manufacturing hub at that point of time, and it was badly hit by the coronavirus. So the manufacturing facility of China was kind of a little subdued. So that is why India became the second most preferred manufacturing hub, and the first most preferred during lockdown. So we had orders coming from developed countries like the US or the UK, who were kind of relying on our mask to save their people. And that is, I would believe, an immense achievement and feat in itself, because mask being a technical product and being a very protective product in times of the pandemic, and they were able to trust us with such a highly functional product. And that, I would say, was something that made us immensely proud. So I would say that if you want a happy ending, it depends where you want to stop your story. So of course, this is not the end of the story. We have a long way to go, and we have already diversified our portfolio into multiple products, into multiple aspects. So NSafe mask was something that built up our revenue, which started our revenue back in the month of May. Then we have a zero alcohol sanitizer, RubSafe, which is also a very specialized product in the market. And then we went on to launch the product we actually developed before pandemic, which was the Acure technology antimicrobial drinking water bottles. So this particular project was actually sponsored by Biotechnology Ignition Grant given by BIRAC DBT. So these are the consumer products or consumer segments that we have as of now in our portfolio. We also try to venture into the intermediate and raw material segment. We have numerous materials, numerous nanoparticle based powders and nanosols available, which we give to numerous industries for applications or incorporation in their already in products they are already making. For example, we give polymer manufacturers polymer master batches to put in their polymeric solutions. We have textile formulations for coating application on textiles. So we have a multiple products for multiple industries which can be applied across multiple product lines. So these are the kind of products that we already have in our portfolio at NanoSafe. It has been a very long journey. It has been a very enriching journey as well. Full of challenges. But what I would like to emphasize here is the power to stick on, the power to be resilient even when we are facing a very tough time, is something that is of utmost importance, and that is something that everyone has to go through. And if you talk about the challenges, so I would like to say that smooth seas never make skillful sellers. So had the process been smooth, had there been no lockdown, had there been no challenge, I don't think I would be here. I don't think I will be able to learn as much as I did while facing these challenges. So that is why challenges and tough times are very important, because it shapes you as who you are as a person. For me, there were two other challenges. So I come from a pure academic background. So I have done my bachelor's, master's, and PhD back to back. And from that pure academic background, coming to an entrepreneurship, which means business and money and a lot of calculations and a lot of risks, it's very difficult for me to switch from a very academic background to a business background. So in academics, what we focus on is novelty, is innovation, is something that nobody has done before. But on business, what business thrives on is the ability to make a profit. And sometimes innovations and profit do not actually go hand by hand, and you have to smoothen the innovation or tweak the innovation in such a way that it becomes market ready and profit friendly as well. So that is one challenge that I always face, as even I face till now as an academic entrepreneur. Also, there is one other challenge. So cost is a very important factor while monetizing a particular technology or a product or a service. But what we miss in academics is that we never think about the cost. We are always building the highest purity nanomaterials. We are building the highest performing product, highest performing service, sometimes at with utter negligence to the cost factor of it. So the cost aspect of a particular product decides the feasibility of the product in the market. And this particular picture that you see is from a very famous character of Uncle Scrooge in Christmas Carol, who's known to be a very miser. So we have to behave like Uncle Scrooge in particular situation, so that the product or the technology is monetized. So these are the two challenges and two learnings that I kind of encountered while driving NanoSafe solutions in the past year. The other thing I would like to mention is the products or the products and the materials that we kind of develop at NanoSafe. Most of them are imported by India as of now. So 80% of the nanomaterials, 80% of antimicrobial technology is still imported by India. And I have a very basic question here. Is the IIT labs or any other premier institute labs not having that particular technology? Why is it that we are importing these technologies from outside? We have the infrastructure, we have the bright brains, we have all the right things at the right place. But what we miss here is the bridge, which is the gap which bridges the academic portion of it and the business portion of it. So there are not too much entrepreneurs out there who are taking this innovations from lab scale to commercial scale. At NanoSafe Solutions, we believe that we are doing are contributing in this field. We are doing as best as we can to bridge this gap between academics and entrepreneurship. But as of now, as we see, we need more entrepreneurs like this who can take that technology from lab scale to commercial scale. And it is in this particular role I find women as the best choice, because women entrepreneurs are very dedicated, in the sense when they start a startup. I can say for myself as well, when I started NanoSafe Solutions, it is like my own baby. I nurture it, I care it, and I dedicate my entire time with it. So that is what a woman entrepreneurship, the caring nature, the dedicated nature, is something that India would really have to tap to get this commercialization in the technology world. So that was some learnings and challenges and perspectives that I would like to share. Let me end this presentation with a few of the takeaway points that I would like to share with you all. Sometimes what happens is, not many of us do focus on extracurricular activities. So extracurricular activities are something that sharpen us as individuals and sharpens our ability to lead and to show the route to everybody else on the team. So this is something that has to be inculcated in every child or in every student in school phase or college phase. And it is through this involvement in different activities. It may be sports, it may be games, it may be dance, it may be some cultural activity, that the person is market ready, or the person is able to inculcate entrepreneurship spirit in them, and that itself helps in a very long run. So I can tell for myself, I have been involved in numerous cultural activities, and people do consider it time wastage when you are actually doing it, but it has a much more long standing long term goal to it. The other thing I would like to highlight here is, there are women who come from very tough backgrounds, and they reach this level where they're doing higher academics or higher education, and after that the general mentality is to kind of get sidelined to the life partner you are being married to. So what happens many a cases is that often the life of a woman entrepreneur or a woman scientist, it's sidelined, and they kind of have to adjust to the life of their husband or their partner, and in the process a lot of challenges they face. And the challenges are sometimes so hard that they think that it is okay to leave their job, it's okay to leave. Yes, it is okay, absolutely, it's their personal choice. But what I would like to say here is, there can exist a balance between personal life and professional life. And it is not very hard to do that. It is absolutely achievable to bring all these personal and professional things on a same boat and sail with that boat. It is perfectly doable. That's what I want to say. Yes, it is a little tough, but it is something that can be done with planning, and if you have a bigger purpose and you have a passion. So let me conclude my presentation with the last point. So I would like to talk about passion here. And passion is something that helps in running a successful business. Hard work, smart work, discipline, focus are important as well. But they are only activated when passion fuels the traits to do something different and create an unique set of principles and values. So it is only passion that will drive the business. Only doing hard work or smart work or disciplining the whole system will not give you good results. So I hope I see many more successful women entrepreneurs in coming times, and this is something that the world do needs at this present state. I hope I was able to motivate some of the women entrepreneurs and some of the women scientists out there to choose a profession of entrepreneurship. With that, I would like to end my presentation, and I would be very happy to take up any questions that you have for me now. So I'm also putting my email ID in the chat box so that anybody who has wants to connect with me can directly drop a mail to me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ansuya, sharing your successful entrepreneur journey and concluding your remark at the end, ability to read, and last is passion. I think your thought process is very straightforward, and I think those who are attending this the workshop, definitely they will be motivated and learn the technique of entrepreneurship in their future journey. Thank you so much, Dr. Ansuya. Now we have another successful woman entrepreneur, Miss Aditi Pasari. She's a director, Gulshan Polymer Limited, and the chairperson of Young Business Leader Forum of PhD Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much for accepting our request, ma'am. And the brief profile of Aditi ji: she's a promoter director of Gulshan Polymer. She is also lead a team of more than 1,500 people, direct, indirect, person. Making is one of the largest manufacturing of specialty chemical in India, having an annual turnover more than 700 crore, and she obtained a master's degree from Cartfield University, UK, and attending professional sector of management consultancy manufacturing. And she is a second generation entrepreneur, hold a private position in the company since 2010. Ma'am, welcome to you, ma'am. And today we are organizing this virtual workshop on women entrepreneur with special focus on innovation management. Being you are a successful entrepreneur and you are running a second generation business of a venture, and some of the students are in an ESL division and some are the technocrat. So kindly motivate the women entrepreneur and share knowledge and wisdom, ma'am.
Thank you, Mithleshji, for that kind introduction. Am I audible? Can you hear me? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and my dear friends. I feel privileged and honored to be invited as a speaker to address this session on women entrepreneurs. I'm not a great orator or a motivational speaker, so I will be speaking about my life journey and experiences, and will try not to give any advice or gyan, because I believe everyone has their own circumstances and their own journeys, especially women. So, I was born in 1979, a second daughter to my parents. I was born in a typical business family environment. I was not brought up to believe that I would step up into my father's business of manufacturing specialty chemicals. Always, getting married on time was a priority. I went to Birla Vidya Niketan in New Delhi. I had a healthy childhood. I passed out of school and did BBA from APJ School of Management. I did my internship in Honda Sale Cars. Working in a Japanese company was an extremely enriching experience for me, something I will value forever. I started my training for vocal classical music at the age of 7. And I actually went on to do my Visharad, which is equivalent to graduation in vocal classical music from Gandhar Mahavidyalaya. Music is one of the greatest assets I created for myself. And all thanks to my mother, who forced me to learn classical music at a very young age. Music brought on a lot of discipline in my life, which is again, for me, the key to a successful life. This is something I will always aspire for my children. Do any one thing, but do it well. I went to Cardiff University for MBA and specialized in marketing. I got back to India and worked with a consultancy firm called Technova for about 2 years. Working for another company gave me the experience and taught me the mindset of people working for you. I knew this would probably be the first and last time that I would get this opportunity to work as an employee for another company. Again, according to me, a must experience, whether you are joining your family business or starting your own. Do work for someone else and get this flavor. I got married and my husband and I started our manufacturing unit of corrugated boxes together after we got married. I worked in them for 4 years. Working with husband has its own challenges. For a couple to work together, what is most important, according to me, is matching work temperaments. You should be having a similar work temperament. After that, I joined my family business, which is Gulshan Polyols Limited. It is a company which was founded by my father 30 years back. I joined him in 2010 I got appointed as a whole-time director. In 2010, my company had 3 plants all over the country with a turnover of 200 crores. So we are 3 sisters. Me and my elder sister were looking to find an occupation for ourselves when my father asked us to join the business and see whether we are interested in taking it further, or else he would liquidate it in the next 5 years. Within 2 years of joining our business, we realized what a great opportunity we had in our lap, and there was no way this business or company was going anywhere. We committed ourselves to the company. Soon after, I had my twins, Anshan and Aisha. Initial 3 years of having my children, I was able to give only a few hours to work. But as the kids got into big school, I was able to give myself a full working day. I started my involvement in business with accounts and finance. Gradually, I took up IT, worked hard to set strong systems across all plants to take it from a people-run company to a process-oriented organization. I was instrumental in implementing a state-of-the-art ERP system across multiple locations. Soon after, I took sales. I have gradually increased my commitment and role in the company over the last 10 years. And all I can say is that my journey has just started. Our company has grown multifold in the last 10 years. We have 9 plants all over the country. Currently, it has a turnover of 700 crores, and we have a vision for doubling it from here in the next 5 years. You have to prove yourself, irrespective you are a woman or a man. But yes, women do have to prove themselves more. Finally, work and performance counts. If you are good at work, you will get the respect and recognition that you deserve. I'm lucky to be working in my own company, so I have not faced any kind of discrimination which other women may be facing at different levels. You must be wondering, how does it all fit in so beautifully? We are 3 sisters, and not having a brother definitely is one of the big reasons for the way my life has turned out. But that doesn't make me a feminist. I am fortunate to be supported and surrounded by real rockstar men, right from my father, my husband, my son, my male friends, my CEO and CFO. All of them have pushed me to work hard and applauded my victories. You don't have to play masculine to be a strong woman. The softer aspects of one's life, like family, children, health, vanity, are as important to men as to women. I read a very interesting quote by Miss Indira Nooyi, who is ex-CEO for PepsiCo. She said in an interview, "I leave my crown in the car before entering home." This quote had a huge impact and learning for me. At home, everyone wants to see the simple wife and mother in you. So let some things never change. It just makes life simpler. Now, this is my perspective. I am just talking about my perspective. A woman is a born multitasker, and I see myself multitasking at every step. A time-bound, organized day is the key for me to multitasking. I need to draw the line, whether it is at work, at home, with children, or friends. I like to keep my meetings time-bound, whether it is at home or office. Focus, discipline, smart work are, of course, keys to a successful life. Statistics say 4% of the women make it to the CEO level. This is not an account of capability, but due to inability to commit. I have had similar experiences in my life where I wasn't able to take up more important assignments in my company due to my inability to make a commitment. However, I feel these statistics are about to change in the next 50 years, thanks to the IT revolution this century has seen. Today, I manage my company from this little device in my hand, sitting anywhere in the world. Across my 9 units, I know each day's daily production, sale, selling prices, raw material prices, etc. And thanks to COVID, we have learned a new way of working. the WFH way, work from home. Another tool in the hands of women, which will just enable us to take higher positions at work. It is in our power to change stereotypes, social norms, and prejudices that prevent today's girls from improving themselves in education, sports, art, and science, and from turning into tomorrow's powerful, influential women. As a citizen of the world, each of us must continue to stand by girls to raise powerful women who break new grounds and contribute to their family, society, and country by thinking, working, and producing. I would take this opportunity to add a beautiful quote here in context of our program today by the First Lady of the United States of America, Miss Roosevelt. She said, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." Indeed, extremely relevant for all of us to pursue our lives, whether it is business, studies, or any other passion or dream. Thank you. That is all from my side, and I hope I added some value and you had some kind of takeaway from my small lifeline and experiences. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Aditi ji, for your wisdom, ma'am, and accepting our request to be one of the guest speaker of today's session on virtual innovation management for the women entrepreneur, ma'am. Any questions from chat box? Today we have two university, ma'am. One is IIM University Jaipur, and second is Mother Teresa University. I think Dr. Bharti, she's there. Dr. Bharti, you're heading E-Cell division in your institute. So any questions from?
So Dr. Kavya Sani ma'am is heading E-Cell in our institute. I'm looking after NSS cell over here.
Okay. Any questions pertaining to my woman entrepreneur? Since you're running women college, ma'am.
Sir, I would really congratulate Aditi ma'am for her wonderful sharing about her wonderful journey, and no questions, sir, as of now.
Thank you so much. Now, ma'am, today we have to wind up this session, and now I request Miss Reema ji to propose a vote of thanks. Yeah.
First of all, a big shout out to all the wonderful women and wishing everyone a very happy Women's Day. With this, we at Innovation Technology Transfer Office have successfully reached the end of our visual workshop on innovation management for women entrepreneurs in collaboration with PhD Intellectual Property Facilitation Center. I grab this opportunity to thank Dr. Anil Wali, MD, FITT, Mr. Mohit Jain, Chairperson, MSME Committee, PhD, CCI, Ms. Tripti Somani, Co-Chair, MSME Committee, PhD, CCI, Chief Guest of today's event, Dr. Vedhey Vijay Kumar, Vice Chancellor, Mother Teresa Women's University, and all the eminent speakers and participants for sparing time and making this event a great success. We also thank Shri Mithilesh Kumar and Ms. Yatika Rawat for working with us to get this program in place. Also, I would like to thank all the women entrepreneurs who were with us during the journey of this workshop. Now that the workshop is complete, hope you all have benefited from this. So here I'm concluding the workshop with bidding everyone a goodbye. We will definitely meet again in future workshops. I'm happy to share that Innovation Technology Transfer Office, Foundation for Innovation and Technology Transfer, IIT Delhi, have two announcements to make for entrepreneurs. First, you will be happy to know we plan to support 10 entrepreneurs this financial year with their patent filing needs. And second, if you want to share your success story, we have an ongoing contest for startups by the name of Share Your Story. Winners will be awarded with some exciting prizes. So please apply for these schemes and avail the opportunities. Till then, keep connecting and following us on LinkedIn for more updates. We would be happy to assist you with our expertise. Thank you, everyone, and wish everyone a very happy Women's Day. Thank you so much. Over to you, Mithilesh ji.
Thank you so much, Rima ji. Thank you so much, all the attendee. Thank you so much, Aditi ji. Thank you so much, all the guest speaker who coming and share your knowledge and wisdom. Thank you so much. Now we have to wind up this session. Thank you so much.